with me for once.
A man who got stuck in a portable toilet, which sounds terrible. He was in there, though, trying to fish out a Mountain Dew. He found himself,
I don't think I'd want it.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
He found himself being mocked by the same firefighters who were said to help him. For a lot of people, using a porta potty toilet when you're out and about comes with a few concerns.
I think you misread that. I think he was looking for a Mountain Dew.
Do. I got it. I've got it. If you're at a music show or a sports event, you're well aware of how bad porta potties can smell after a long day in the sun.
They're Mountain Pew.
It doesn't flush. It may lack some sanitary nature for you, so it can be a dilemma when it comes to using one. Not many people worry about falling inside of one. It's something that happens on rare occasions, but it has become less rare in recent months. In fact, over in Kansas City, a man fell inside of a port-a-loo. They don't call it a porta potty, they call it a port-a-loo over across the seas, after he reached in to try to fish out an unfinished bottle of Mountain Dew. Yeah, oh my gosh, this is terrible. The man said he had gone fishing in the toilet after his drink fell into the sewage tank below. Again, go buy another one. There's no way I don't care if the bottle is as tight as it could possibly be, I'm never touching it. It's disgusting.
Yeah, you still got to put your mouth on the outside of the bottle to drink.
Yeah. In the end, the man was freed from the toilet. The fire crew hosed him down afterwards. That's terrible. The company that owns the toilet confirmed he was trying to get a Mountain Dew. He had been stuck in there for. Are you ready for this? How long is too long to be stuck in a porta potty, you think?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? I would agree. 8 hours for this guy.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine being stuck in that thing for 8 hours?
So he dewed the dew. Right.
In a portaloo.
In a portaloo.
Yeah.
They finally freed him after they they exchanged insults while he's being rescued.
Yeah, that's what the story said, is everybody was kind of taking shots at each other.
Yeah,
I think the firefighters have the upper hand in that one, Scott. You're the one that is stuck in the belly of a porta potty. Yeah.
And the firefighters very much pointed that out to him.
Yeah.
Yep. So he was saying crap to them?
Yeah, the guy said, the guy's like, well, help me out of here, you idiot. Being a little PG here. It's not what he said. And firefighter responds, I'm the idiot. You're the one stuck in a porta potty.
Yeah. In a portaloo.
Yeah. You know what I'd have done at that point? I'd have paused for a second, reached into my cooler, got a nice ice cold Mountain Dew out, and sit there and sipped on it in front of him.
This is good.
Yeah. Don't you wish you had one of these?
This is the new limited flavor, too.
That's probably the only time I would want to be sprayed down by a fire hose. I mean, the amount of strength that comes out of those things.
Yeah. Oof. That dude on the British Open just hit a cold hard shank on live TV, Dunaway. That ought to make any golfer feel better. Watch this. I mean, this is a cold hard shank.
Oh, he's in pretty good lie.
Yeah, it's not the lies issue. He just flat shanks it.
Oh, wow.
A school in New York is hiring an AI humanoid to teach children in one of their classes. And it's happening sooner than you think.
Trust a doctor with your life. They owe you proper care. If medical negligence left you or a loved one injured, you deserve answers and compensation. Alexander Shunnarah trial attorneys have recovered over $2 billion for their clients harmed by medical errors, misdiagnoses, and surgical mistakes. They fight hospitals and insurance companies so you can focus on healing. Don't wait. Medical malpractice cases have strict deadlines in Alabama. Call Alexander Shunnarah trial attorneys now for a free consultation. 659-777-7777 or alexwins.law. You pay nothing unless they win. Physical office location, Birmingham.
Next Round shirts, Next Round hoodies, and Next Round hats are all in one place. NextRound.store. Find your favorite piece of gear from your favorite show and put it in your rotation. You never know. You might be in one of our videos showing Next Round gear being worn all over the world. Find all your favorite Next Round gear by visiting NextRound.store. Place an order for you and that big Next Round fan in your life at NextRound.store. Look your best at work, at school, at the stadium, or anywhere you go wearing Next Round gear from NextRound.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
SEC Media Day underway in Tampa. We've got a cruise in Tampa. Obviously, we're here in Birmingham. All of our coverage being brought to you by our friends at Culver's of SEC Media Day week. We'll tell you more about Culver's as we move throughout the week, but it's a great place to eat as you travel throughout this football season. you'll see the logo pop up on the screen a lot throughout this week. Connor O'Gara joins us from Tampa, our set down there. He's part of the Next Round family. He'll be with us to start hour number 2. And then Connor's show, the OG Kickoff, will actually follow us uninterrupted. We'll just tell you about Culver's at 12 noon, and then Connor will take over and continue our coverage without even changing streams today. You don't even have to click on a different link or anything. We'll just keep rolling along with Connor O'Gara and the OG Kickoff coming up at 12 noon today. That's how we're going to roll all week long, Monday through Thursday.
Brooks,
right?
Yeah, no, I'm just laughing at Brooks just texted us, hey, we just lost power at SEC Media.
Thank God the show would be dead right now.
How about the start of our show would be boop, right out of the chute.
Yeah. We had instantly thought, though, something had happened back here probably.
Yeah, we would have said, Tyler, what'd you do?
I don't know. If the lights went out, it would be something different.
Yeah. So power out at SEC Media Days.
Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee. You'll hear from John Mateer in a little bit. We'll also do our 40 and 40 and a ton of other college football to get to on the show. So we look forward to all that happening with our friends at Culver's. I guess we start off by saying sorry for your loss, Tyler.
Yeah, your country lost.
With Argentina, your native country.
I am so good. Those criminals, thugs. It was about time, Tyler. Your boys went down.
Lance is anti-Argentina.
I mean,
everybody is.
And everybody else that just hates greatness.
No, what about a lack of class, though? But I will say this. The Spain defense, we talked about it. Like, how difficult it is to watch if you're not a soccer purist because they do just squeeze the life out of teams.
Yeah, give me Forrester's mic. I think this was the first World Cup game Forrester
Yeah,
won.
he told me he watched a ton of it.
I haven't watched many, but I did watch this one.
And how exciting were you?
It was riveting, man.
Yeah. And that's a guy that that's a guy that lived through 3-2 Auburn beating Mississippi State.
Right.
If a 1-0 game can be a complete ass kicking, it was.
It was amazing. Like, that was complete domination. And you don't see that in football. Like, that almost reminds you, if we're going to bring it local terms, 2011, the rematch between LSU and Alabama, where Alabama wins, 21-0. You just dominate 60 minutes of football. You find ways to score more than 3 points or 7 points.
More than the score of that game. What do people remember most about that, to your point?
They couldn't cross the 50.
Yeah, it took LSU until late in the game.
Well, that was it. I mean, there was 2 shots on goal finally, or maybe 3 shots on goal. Messi didn't have a shot on goal. During regulation, they had 1 shot on goal.
The ball first. Argentina's midfield could not possess the ball. And then Spain's style of play is just absolutely suffocating. It's like by 1,000 passes. It's called tiki-taka. You move around in a circle, and it's quick, short passes, and then you dart around, essentially. And when Spain does it, a lot of people call it the Matador routine because you've got the other player just running like a bull in a ring. Yeah. And they get tired. They start making stupid mistakes. Enzo Fernandez, for one. Absolute hothead on that guy.
Outside of Mbappe, I think he is my least favorite player in this tournament.
Yeah, that's fair. He's always been like kind of a heel character.
Yeah. Lionel Messi, though, the great Messi.
Oh, Lionel.
And they don't get a shot off until the 117th minute.
It was crazy. It reminded me, so I went back and looked at this. Who do you think had the better scoring defense in the postseason, the 1985 Bears or the 2000 Ravens? Because, I mean, those are the two that really they just were the most dominant defenses in the history of the NFL.
Reputation-wise, 85 Bears. Yeah. I don't know if it's true or not, but the reputation is
this
the 85 Bears.
All I could think of was this is what soccer would look like if Gene Stallings had coached it. I mean, it's basically the way he coached football, right? Like Gene Stallings, normally once Alabama got to about 17 points, you're like, this game's probably over. There's nobody's going to score 17 on a Gene Stallings defense. Occasionally it would happen, but then the offense would just go completely in a shell, protect 17 points. That's enough to win the game.
I just couldn't believe, they continue to talk about he's got the most saves in World Cup history. The first 7 or 8 were kicked. It's not his fault, but they were kicked directly at him. Like, he ended up having to have multiple really good saves at the end.
The Argentina kicker?
Yeah.
The Argentina goalkeeper.
The Argentina goalkeeper, yeah. I mean, because I think he ended up having like 11 saves, which is crazy.
He ended up having about 11 saves. I'd say half of them
12.
were pretty comfortable saves for a keeper of his caliber. But that being said, he was doing it all with a broken finger.
Yeah. No, I get that. And again, not his fault where the ball is going. But 85 Bears, real quick, they only played 3 games. people forget the Ravens were a wild card in 2000, so they ended up playing 4 games. Bears 21-0 over the Giants, 24-0 over my Rams in the NFC Championship game, and then 46-10 where Irving Fryer scores a late fourth-quarter touchdown. They gave up 3.1 points per game that postseason. And then the 2000 Ravens, 21-3 over the Broncos, 24-10 over the Titans, 16-3 over the Raiders, 34-7 over the Giants, 5.7 per game.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of those defenses.
Yeah, I would tell you, though, when you're talking about easy saves for the Argentinian goal keep, compared to what was happening at the other end, he was doing a great job.
They may have been easy saves on his phone. Like, literally, there was nothing going on. And, I do think it shows you whatever that Matador, and their passing was just precision. Mm-hmm. Again, not a fun team to watch, but, like, the respect for that team. And now they've won 38 consecutive matches. It's pretty crazy.
I know you guys get tired of me comparing everything to college football.
Well, I just did. I called it Gene Stallings.
But here you go.
Would it help if we compared it to NBA? Spain plays like the Greg Popovich Spurs.
Yeah, no. I got a stat for you here. Kirk Cignetti was on Alabama's coaching staff in the 2009 season. In January of 2010, they won the national championship in the Rose Bowl, or out at the Rose Bowl. Cignetti was on that team, national champion. That year, Spain won the World Cup. This January of 2026, Cignetti's Indiana team wins the national championship. It is Spain's second World Cup. So when Cignetti's on the national championship winning staff, Spain wins the World Cup.
That is a deep find right
there.
there.
Really is.
2 for 2.
Another weird stat, the past 4 World Cup winners won the first semifinal game that was played and had an extra day of rest.
Oh, still a day of rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think, and look, you got to give Argentina credit. They were the cockroaches. They would not go away. But if you're listing, like, the talent of these teams, like Spain and then England or France, like, I think England showed its potential. I cannot believe France. I can't believe I was watching a third-place game.
The humiliation ritual.
After you said you wouldn't watch it.
I know.
That? I went out of town this weekend.
It was 6-4. It was a veritable, compared to you.
We went to New Orleans.
4-0 at the end of the first half.
I know.
We were supposed to be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. After Thursday night, one round around downtown, I was like, I can't stay here more than 2 days. Way too hot. So we came back on Saturday. I got back at halftime, so it was already 4-0. And I was like, and I gave out France because I thought the English would just really tap out. But then I watched that second half, and I was
France,
just,
as a country, historically,
I know.
for tapping out.
Boy, they did. But then they came flying back without that penalty kick. I think that thing probably goes to extra time. That was, but I think it showed you this was England's year, and they just couldn't get it done.
ESPN, Fox, and Netflix expected to bid on the next World Cup. $1 billion is expected to be the starting price on the bid there, according to the Front Office Sports. By the way, if you're wondering, Fox this year paid $485 million for this. They averaged 7.1 million viewers in the U.S., counting every match, over 100 matches.
Yeah.
You put all of them together. When Senegal was playing, Dr. Congo, whoever was playing.
There were
at the worst part of time.
1 a.m. matches, too.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Viewership up 120%. ESPN says they will get it back. Fox says we're not going to let it go. And Netflix says, hold my beer, we're going to get this. Netflix is overpaid for the women the next 2 times around. So this is massive, massive bidding property.
And there'll be an overreaction because of how big it was now.
Yeah, and it's never been this big in my opinion. Like, and Tyler, again, you're the soccer guy, and Dunaway, I think you've watched more than any of us. By the way, I did win that Calcutta, although England did not win it all. But I've never been all in like this. Like, I think I watched probably 80% of the matches.
Most I've ever watched, for sure.
Yeah, and for sure in 4 years, like we were already talking about, it's Morocco, it's Portugal, it's Spain. We are going. Like, God willing. And I've got the finances to do it, but we've already planned it. We are 100% going in 4 years.
This is it.
Well,
big soccer guy.
I had already planned to start saving as well.
Oh, look at you and Tyler can go together.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll do it, man.
Maddie does not want to go to the game. She'll just stay by the beach. And
No, she's got friends, believe it or not, in Ibiza, and we were talking about like how crazy.
Oh, you've always wanted to go to Ibiza?
Yeah. How crazy do you think Ibiza was yesterday?
Oh, I bet it was.
I would imagine it's good.
My gosh. But I want to go to Morocco, all those places. But I just, every 4 years, this thing is perfect. And my youngest brother was asking me yesterday, why do people care about this? And I was like, it is the biggest sport in the world.
Sport,
like,
man.
I don't like the sport, but every 4 years, like the passion that comes with it, like this was just, I'm telling you, man, this matched any great NFL postseason I've ever seen. It was that good.
Yeah. That's
and I will not watch again for 4 years.
Yeah. Lance is planning on being at the World Cup in 4 years. And Ibiza that goes back. I saw Roney over the weekend, and we used to joke about he always wants to go to Ibiza. He always tells me, this is the year I'm going to Ibiza. This is the year I'm going to Ibiza.
I have outgrown Ibiza, but
apparently not. You're going to make it.
No, I'm going to be in Spain. I don't know if we'll make Ibiza. I'm just saying she does have a couple of friends that actually live in Spain, and I don't know. I've heard Portugal's amazing. It's just a good destination. Try to go to a match or two.
Yeah. So big plans 4 years from now.
Will Messi be there though?
Nope. That was it for him.
I don't think so. If he does, it'll be as a super sub. But I don't want to see that.
Yeah. Go out now.
He's earned a retirement. He is the most decorated player.
That's right.
in the history of the game.
Walk off in the sunset.
I would still argue, even after this finals loss, that he's the greatest soccer player to ever exist and in the conversation for greatest team sports athlete of all time.
I mean, you can't really argue it.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Now, I will say Michael Jordan would have gotten shot off. Yeah. Might have airballed it, but with the Wizards.
Ohtani occasionally gets a hit. He does get at bats, by rule.
I mean, do you judge Jordan based on his career with the Wizards?
No, but if we're talking about like Tom Brady, I mean, in his final Super Bowl, Tom Brady was really good.
Really good. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't his best. The defense won that, but still won a Super Bowl. Messi, no shots. That's hard to believe.
I just
They
hope
couldn't get him the ball.
we get a football season as we roll into SEC Media Days as good as this.
I would agree. I hope this is a harbinger of things to come.
Yeah. I mean, and hopefully it is. But, I mean, that was an incredible just tournament they put on.
Real quickly, yesterday, the British Open, Ryan Fox won that one. The DeChambeau penalty back over the weekend. It looked like a penalty to me, Brownie.
It's very controversial. I think a lot of the players probably trying to walk the line here said, unless you can see down the line, you don't know that he improved his backswing. My question to that would be, if the grass that you stomped on wasn't in the way, why were you stomping on it? I think that would be the question the RNA asked. But
he did do one sweeping motion with his leg one time.
Right. But you'd also had like 12 people walking in there looking for the ball.
That's right. Right.
It's obviously very controversial, and then Bryson being right at the center of it's only going to make it more controversial.
Yeah. And what did it slow down? It was about a 14-minute discussion. Is that what it was?
Yeah, and then he threatened not to play the next day, so I know, it's just laughable.
But you said people danced around it. Rory McIlroy did not.
Rory did not. Yeah. I said some players did. Yeah. Rory did not. Rory said, I don't really care for the guy. And
I don't like the guy, so if you're expecting me to sit up here
and defend him, I'm not going to do it.
I love that, though, the transparency.
Yeah, I was hoping they would work their way. They were paired together.
Yeah, I know. That'd have been awesome.
I'll tell you, though, for Ryan Fox to have that bogey on 15 and to be able to play like he did down the stretch.
Especially when you look at his majors record. He's historically has been awful in the majors.
Yeah, and I tweeted this out, Lance, and I know you've done sports psychology podcasts and stuff in the past. I said this guy is a walking testament to sports psychology 101. He never one bad bounce or a bad break here or there, bogey here. Never seemed to bother him. He didn't seem emotional, and he never thought about anything. He just got up there. His pace of play was so fast, and he just got up there. Even that final putt, he didn't walk around and look at it.
I know.
He just walked up here and knocked it in the hole.
I ran to go to the bathroom, and I got back, and he had just made the putt. I'm like, damn, I thought you would take a second. Yeah. Like, that is a massive shot. You miss it, you got to go to a playoff with Cameron Young.
Sometimes the more you think, the worse.
I was expecting the same thing. Okay, they're going to build this, how they do on television, build it up, the drama, show him looking at it, and whisper, if he makes this one, he's
But he played like Scheffler or Koepka at a major, like he had done this 3, 4, 5 times before. Yeah, and he never had. And you tell me, how big of a lead is a 4-shot lead with after 10 holes? So what do you got at that point?
So he's got 8 holes left?
Yeah.
You ought to get that one home.
I had Siwoo Kim straight up against Sam Burns. Yeah. I had a 4-stroke lead, and they end up pushing out.
Yeah, I mean, he led the tournament. He just needed to par par out at one point, and he was going to win the thing.
God, he played so good on the back nines, too. Yeah. It was so weird.
I've learned the person I don't want to be is, well, I mean, I would take whatever second place was, but to sit there for 2 hours and
Cam
something,
Young?
if you're Cam Young in the clubhouse as the lead,
that's gotta
and you're
suck.
just sitting there watching, and when Suey takes the lead by one stroke, you're like, oh, okay, here we go. And then all of a sudden you're leading by yourself, and people are dropping like flies. You're like, I'll take another one, please.
That's right. Yes.
And then you got to go out and start warming up, and then this guy drains it on 10. I mean, on 18, just like that.
You're praying for wind. You're praying like, let's let a storm blow in here.
Yeah.
It's like he was in an estate, like a will reading, and didn't realize there was another kid in the family.
Yeah.
Because like it went from 3.2 to 1.8 quickly.
Yeah.
Like it got cut down. Like that was going to be a massive payday.
And your first major, by the way.
And first major, yeah. Because Cam Smith has won one, right?
He has. He's won the British.
And I think everybody gets those guys confused, although they look nothing alike.
Cam Young and Cam Smith.
I mean, just because of the
Cam.
Yeah.
Brent Venables speaking down there. Oklahoma, Missouri, and then Kentucky and Tennessee are the SEC teams at Media Days. We'll check in with Connor O'Gara coming up at the top of the hour, start of hour number 2 if you're with us on the podcast, Spotify, and elsewhere.
Venables got a tan, by the way.
He does. Boy, he's been out in the sun.
He might have more sun than Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more SEC football in this segment right after we tell you about our friend Alexander Shunnarah, trial attorney.
Shunnarah.com. Shunnarah.com. That is Alexander Shunnarah, trial attorneys. The place you go, whatever legal issue you face, anything from personal injury, which he takes care of, to fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, workers' compensation, employment. The list goes on and on and on with our guy, Alexander Shunnarah, trial attorneys. Again, you don't pay a dime unless they win your case with Alexander Shunnarah. And boy, do they win cases. More than $2 billion recovered for their clients. $2 billion recovered for their clients at Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com.
Forrest, I don't know if you have it, the November 7th graphic from On3 Sports. Pretty interesting here, this great day. We've talked about it once before on how awesome that day is going to be. But here's my question, and for those that are listening. Oregon and Ohio State play on Saturday, November 7th. Alabama plays LSU. Georgia plays Ole Miss. Miami plays Notre Dame. BYU plays Utah. Just a fabulous headline 5-game day of college football. But let's say the season doesn't go the way we want it to go. Is there a potential that could end? There's no way that day can be a dud, but that could be an Ohio State team that's already got a loss.
Yeah,
or two.
Ole Miss could have 3. Ole Miss could have 3, 4 losses by then.
LSU could have 2 or 3. Bama could have 2.
Miami, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, Oregon. I mean, those are by far the best 2 games, and you might have 1 loss amongst the 4 of them. Maybe.
Yeah, the Miami Notre Dame is the one I probably feel most confident about delivering the record that people want it to, just because of Notre Dame's schedule and Miami playing in the ACC. As little confidence as I have in Mario Cristobal getting through it undefeated. I think if you're just saying which one has the record, like right now, we're building this up as the Saturday that determines a lot. Which game do you feel most confident both teams are in the national championship hunt? I'd probably go Miami Notre Dame just because of their schedules.
Yeah, because Oregon does have to go to USC on September 26th. I mean, that is a really difficult game for Oregon.
Yeah.
It is.
So I could see them have a loss, and then obviously Ohio State has got Texas.
They've already played Indiana at this point, haven't they?
They have played at Indiana and at USC. I mean,
that's what
and at Iowa.
That's what would be fascinating.
Asking this question is there's a worst case scenario that these could be some
elimination games.
Yeah, or games that are battling for bowl eligibility.
I don't know if we're going to go that far.
I mean, there is a chance. I know this sounds crazy because we've never seen it, and Ryan Day does not lose regular season games. But they're at Texas, at Iowa, at Indiana, at USC. Those 4 losable games before they play Oregon. If they've already got 2 losses, Oregon could be an elimination game.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Ohio State in that situation where their back is against the playoff wall. Because even, the year they won it, went in as the 8th seed, they lost to Michigan that last game and still got in. The loss to Michigan, nobody thought it knocked them out of the playoffs. So, really, it's been a while since we've seen Ohio State have to play a game where, boy, if you don't win this one, you're probably out of the playoffs.
And I don't think there is a team in the SEC that could do better than 10-2 with Ohio State's schedule.
I don't disagree with that. Now, Texas would have to play them.
It's one of the toughest schedules out there.
You have to replace Texas, maybe they play Georgia instead of, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, at Iowa's probably like at Missouri.
Yeah.
At Indiana, I mean, at Georgia, basically.
Yeah, basically.
At USC is like at Ole Miss.
It's a tough schedule.
Then you got Oregon at home, and you've still got to go to Nebraska, and then you finish up with Michigan at the end of the year. That is a brutal schedule.
And to that point, CBS Sports has put out the easiest schedules in Power 4 college football this year. And I think you can make a case that there are 3 playoff spots, maybe 4 playoff spots, outside chance 5, but probably 4 playoff spots that will come from this group of teams. And it doesn't include Notre Dame. It's the power conferences. But, Brown, you've already pointed out Notre Dame has an easy schedule.
They do.
A very manageable schedule. Easiest schedule in the country, North Carolina State.
Oh,
yeah.
So when you make an argument,
when we previewed the Wolfpack, and it's one of the reasons I had them in my top 25.
Yeah, so could sneak in as a second or ACC champion. But Texas Tech is the second easiest schedule that easily could eat up a spot.
Double-digit favorites, even with the unknown Will Hammond in every single game this year.
Kansas State is third. Virginia is fourth. Miami's the 5th easiest schedule in college football, according to CBS Sports.
You notice 3 of the 5 are ACC.
Yeah, I do notice that.
Pittsburgh is 6th. BYU is 7. SMU, ACC, 8th. Houston is 9. And Penn State is 10.
Okay, so the first 9 are all Big 12 or ACC, and we have brought up Penn State's schedule before. It is ready-made for Matt Campbell.
So by that thinking there, it's exactly where I was going, LT. Just say one of those 2 leagues gets two spots, and the other one gets 1, the Big 12 and the ACC. So there's 3, and Penn State could sneak in. That's 4, potentially 5 playoff spots from the 10 easiest schedules.
Yeah. I said this, and that's why I think it's so important week 1. NC State, Virginia, the winner of that game has a really good outside shot of being the team that plays Miami for the ACC championship.
And we know who the starting quarterback is now on the other side of C.J. Bailey. Bo Pribula has been named the number 1 quarterback for Virginia, with Eli Holstein, the former Alabama quarterback, as the backup.
We were doing an exercise when you were going Friday because we were talking about Miami. And the exercise was, what was it, Jim? If Miami does not win the conference, who does? Was that what we did? Wins the ACC. We were making a case.
No, who will be the other team with Miami in the ACC championship game?
Yeah. And, I think it was Brooks that brought up NC State. And when you start looking at their schedule, as Brooks said, Dave Doran's got one of the best quarterback situations he's had in a while.
Yeah.
You look at that schedule, I mean, if you're looking for an ACC dark horse, NC State appears to be ready-made for that.
Most production coming back is Virginia. I'm telling you, we are sleeping on Virginia. They've
do you
got a
believe
chip
in
on their
Pribula?
shoulder. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think he's a good quarterback. He's cocky, too. That's what you kind of need. Guy can move around. But with that, it's going to come down to whoever wins that game. I do think SMU is probably the second most talented team, but based on those 2 schedules, I think they do have kind of doors open for either one of those teams.
Easy schedules there. Degree of difficulty there for the SEC as the SEC Media Days crank up down in Tampa. One more thing to get to. A coach who says he wants to come back and coach again, miss the competition. Who that is, after LT tells us about our great friends at Hoover Toyota, hoovertoyota.com.
Yeah, hey, if you're in the market right now, new or used, whether it's a car, SUV, truck, our friends at Hoover Toyota, they have got the best inventory out there, great service and parts department, incredible on-site finance department. Speaking from experience, 2-time customer over the last couple of years, absolutely loving my Land Cruiser right now. Stop in, see Scott Peoples and that incredible staff. Located Highway 150 in Hoover, they're going to roll out the red carpet program for you. They've been doing it for more than 2 decades. They want to make sure they retain you as a customer for life. Not only Birmingham, Alabaster, Vestavia as well. For more information, you can go online to check out that inventory, hoovertoyota.com.
Okay, personal feelings aside, but ACC Network analyst Jimbo Fisher says, as the weekends last week, that he is interested in getting back into coaching. It's not for the money, obviously. He doesn't need the money. He is a guy that says, I miss the competition. I miss game planning. I miss breaking down film. And he goes, if you think I recruited when I didn't have money, if you don't think I can recruit with money, then you're kidding yourself. I'll be able to recruit. And, he was asked about, well, what type of program? And he says, it doesn't have to be elite. It's just somebody will give me a fair chance to win. Is there a path for Jimbo Fisher back to being a head coach, and what type of program do you think?
You know, the interesting thing is his comment about you saw me recruit before. Wait till I recruit with money. He was the guy that Nick Saban talked about paying every player on the roster, and it got him fired. So it wasn't like he wasn't recruiting at Texas A&M. I don't think anybody got onto him for not recruiting at Texas A&M. It was the fact that he couldn't translate those, and I'd have to go back and look, but I remember him being easily a top 10 recruiter at A&M, probably a top 5. He couldn't translate that onto the field.
I know I've been hard on him, but when he took the A&M, the 10-year, $75 million contract, I didn't believe, because I think it would take an elite coach to be able to come into a situation where they've never won a championship and be able to do it. That's why I said Jimbo won't be able to do it. He's a guy that can win you 8 or 9 games at a good program every single year. I think he's a good coach. Would love to see what he can do with NIL dollars, but we're going to be previewing a team today that I think will lose their coach at the end of the year. And I think this is one of those programs that would take a look at Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, interesting.
Let me ask you, we've seen this happen a couple of times, and not always very successful when it happens. If Mike Norvell,
I thought about it,
doesn't survive, which most people don't think he will, and the guy you hire doesn't need the money, he would come in at a discount
and put the rest of it to NIL.
Would Jimbo Fisher be
so
to get the band back together at Florida State?
As I remember it, the big falling out was he had a charity because of his child or something like that, and they were giving him crap about putting it up on the scoreboard, and that's where the fracture started.
That's where it started. Yeah.
That's where it started, and then A&M comes open, and it's all nice and shiny. I think I know athletic director has changed. Our buddy Michael Offer's now the AD there. I just wonder how much else has changed in that front office that he didn't like the first time he was there.
Yeah, I would not bring him back.
More importantly, the boosters.
Yeah, I mean, like he flirted with leaving his wife twice. The first time was LSU, and he would have taken the LSU job. We all know that, and everything fell apart behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You guys remember when that publicly played out, so he wanted to leave Florida State at that point, and then he gets another opportunity to go to the SEC, and he takes off. It's almost like, Jimbo's got, money now, or Florida State's got money, and it looks more appealing, so he's going to come back to that situation. If I'm Florida State, I would not want him back.
Not touch him.
I would not.
No. That just always seems really hard. And it never seems like John Robinson went to the Rams, came back to USC, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't the same.
It was not the same. I mean, the same with Bill Walsh at Stanford.
Bill Walsh at Stanford was the next one I was going to
The only
mention.
person that's ever been able to do it was Bill Snyder.
But he didn't do it great, LT.
And they never got back to the level they were, did they?
Yeah. I mean, we're on that bus going to Miami in 2012, and they beat Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl to end up like number 3 that year. I mean, they would have been squarely in the college football playoff. They won the Big 12. Colin Klein was a Heisman finalist.
That was his second go-around, not his first go-around?
Second go-around.
Schiano twice at Rutgers.
Yeah, it hadn't been great. Since
but
he's been back.
To his defense, it's a bit of a different world at Rutgers.
Yeah, very difficult.
Yeah.
Petrino's second time at Louisville. Didn't he go back there?
He did.
He did.
Yeah, I mean, it was
good, but it wasn't nearly as good.
Coached a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to do. It's hard enough to do it one time, much less do it twice. I don't think I would make that move if I were Florida State.
Part of me always thought Spurrier would have gone back to Florida, but it never happened. South Carolina ended up happening.
And that's why, I brought up Brian Kelly last week with South Carolina. Like, their best years were getting an elite retread. And that's why I think Brian Kelly could be an opportunity at South Carolina. I think Jimbo Fisher would get an opportunity at South Carolina.
We'll do our
not that he's elite. But.
We'll do our 40 and 40 coming up here in just a second. One developing story out there: Warde Manuel. We didn't think he'd make it to Monday. He's going to actually make it to the end of the year. They've announced that Michigan and athletic director Warde Manuel are parting ways. He's stepping down at the end of the school year, so he gets a whole year.
Giving him benefit of the doubt. You've been here 40 plus years. Let's not make this thing messy. You don't fight it. We'll go on and we'll paper everything right now, and you sell off into the sunset
with a big check,
face a little bit,
with a big check, and with that big check comes we're not going to do the tell-all interview or reward. No, we're not going to.
It's a good way to end things.
Yeah. I agree.
I think it's a really appealing job too. Not only the money it pays, I think he was making 2.6, but we also talked about this. If Boynton doesn't work out on basketball, you're going to get to make that higher in the next couple of years, and you're definitely going to make a football higher in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and you've got NIL money coming out. I mean, just falling out of your pockets like a cartoon character. So it's an easier job than some athletic director jobs. All right, show being brought to you by Lance's Lock. Baseball is back. My Tampa Bay Rays aren't yet. They get swept by the Red Sox, who have won 13 straight. But we're back from the All-Star break. Phillies hosting Dodgers tonight. So Dodgers-Phillies at 6:10 on ESPN. St. Louis and the Angels after that doubleheader of baseball. You can get baseball plays at lanceslock.com.
Yes, 3-1 yesterday. We would have been 4-1 if we didn't blow our one matchup in the British Open yesterday. 4-shot lead with 8 holes to go. We ended up pushing out there, but 3-1, another winner in the World Cup with Spain. More Major League Baseball winners coming up today. Free play every single day at lanceslock.com as well. Jump on board, win with us. It is always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Whether you experience any plumbing, heating, cooling issues, home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
The insurance company called. They offered you a settlement. Sounds good, right? Wrong. They're counting on you not knowing what your case is really worth. They're betting you take pennies on the dollar because you're scared and overwhelmed. Don't fall for it. Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys has recovered over $2 billion for going to war with insurance companies that try this every single day. Call 659-777-7777 or alexwins.law. Free consultation. You pay nothing unless they win.
Physical office location, Birmingham.
Sterling and the fine folks at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster want to welcome you in for a great lunch or dinner starting at 11 a.m. every day. Chicken that's brined overnight and cooked to order, and the taste of the Delta with those Delta recipe tamales. Champy's is perfect for all your tailgating needs this football season. You can also choose Champy's for your next party, wedding, or birthday. Great food, great people. Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster, and everything online at champyschicken.com.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Never miss anything from the next round when you listen on demand through the podcast platform of your choice. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or Google Podcasts. Wherever you listen, always like, follow, subscribe, and turn on automatic downloads so you catch every part of the next round. Listen anywhere in the world at any time on the Next Round podcast feed, and support the show by following, subscribing, and turning on automatic downloads on any podcast platform. Thanks for always making the next round a big part of your day.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Hey, we'll get to our 40 and 40 in this segment and another awkward Steve Sarkisian moment as SEC Media Days continue, brought to you by our friends at Culver's. By the way, can we get Brooks real quick on the fly here? Brooks, you can hear us. I can see you sitting in our shot down in Tampa. Let's just do an official test here. You lost power. Was it a storm? Was it a technical issue? What happened? Did they lose it in the main ballroom where the coaches are being interviewed? How did that work?
No, about 3 tables, including ours, lost power.
Okay, it was an isolated storm.
Right at the start of our show, huh? What was the issue? Do you know?
I think we had too many things plugged in over here.
Okay, that happens. Yeah.
Damn, the power strips don't even work in Tampa.
Yeah, I think what you're about to tell us is.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was our table.
I would hope not.
A table next to us with a little more money than we do has a lot more lights set up.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes you have a local AM station from another town that'll accidentally unplug your thing while they're plugging something up.
That's what I thought happened, and it was within 90 seconds of our show starting, and everything just went out. And but yeah, we're good. We're good. They brought out the crew. They got like an extra power box set up over here, so I think we should be good for the next 4 days.
I was going to ask you, could you confirm if our buddy Greg McElroy has gone brunette? But I think it's just the lighting in whatever room they're in. I mean, how dark is that room?
It really is.
Yes. Okay. At first, I didn't see Greg on the left. At first, I thought that's not Greg. First of all, that's
well, you see him though. Look,
I do. Yeah.
I don't know if they paid for this. I don't know if all the media people on the other side, they've got the water backdrop.
Yeah, but that's going to be, I noticed that's going to be hot in the afternoons, though. Sitting in front of those windows, that is not going to be pleasant.
No.
That
lets you know Brown picked our spot to be out of the sunlight.
No, Brown did not. I'm just telling you, that's going to be hot in the afternoons.
So I don't know about you guys. This is my first SEC Media Day sans 2020 when they did it remotely that I haven't been to since 2002,
Yeah,
2001.
I was thinking last time I missed a Media Days, I was not present for one, was Mike DeBose was the head coach at Alabama, and Terry Bowden was at Auburn. Isn't that crazy?
I think I've been to every one of them since 1992.
Yeah.
Except for, I checked this last night, after the BP oil spill, we had already booked a vacation, a family vacation, before they announced the SEC.
Well, we were doing the
Days.
show together, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So did just me and Brown go?
I guess so.
Yeah.
It was in Birmingham at the time, but it was a BP
remember
oil
that.
spill, and we had booked a family vacation in South Carolina on the Atlantic coast.
Yeah.
And, young kids and 8 families and houses. And then they announced when the SEC Media Days was, and we'd already booked it because you couldn't go to the Gulf Coast. And I missed it. And Maggie reminded me last night when I said, "Oh, I remember missing one." And she goes,
I don't remember this.
You were such a pain in the ass because you kept saying you needed to be there. You needed to be there. And she goes, "I remember the first day we were in South Carolina. I was like, I thought about telling you just go ahead and go back. Just
I'll
go
stay
back
here."
Yeah.
It used to be like, because it was on our turf every year, we used to host, and like all of these media members would come in, and we would go out every single night, and that was a pretty good time back then.
It was fun, yeah. Now, and I'm sure people wonder why we're not there, and I'll tell you the answer behind that is it's in Tampa, which is pretty new. We're very unfamiliar with that location. But the SEC warned us in advance because of this location, which I think is a mistake on their part being there, but they're the SEC. I'm not. I don't tell them how to run a conference. They don't tell us how to do a show. Because of this location, there were massive space limitations, which for a show like ours is a problem. Brooks, I'm sure you can confirm, probably not the most spacious setup there like we normally have, right?
In terms of the table where we're set up, I mean, like my arm is on the suitcase here, so
so no,
that all the equipment made its way down here in, so it's pretty tight back here.
Well, look, I mean, we're going to do what's in the best interest of our company. The SEC is going to do what's in the best interest of that conference. But the accessibility is not what it used to
It's
be.
not,
We,
and that's
we all
another
know
aspect.
that. You know.
Yep.
And the hotel as well. I mean, I guess I ignorantly assumed that there weren't very many other media members staying. I'm not staying at the media hotel. I'm staying down the street, and I go to get on the elevator this morning, and to my surprise, Brooks Austin is standing right there. And so we rode down the elevator together this morning, and it's actually the first time I've formally introduced myself to him. So, yeah, there's a lot of other people not even staying at the hotel.
Oh.
He couldn't get hotel
There you
accommodations
go.
here. So there's other events and business meetings and all sorts of stuff. This is right in the center of downtown. So and these are pretty prominent hotel locations. So there's probably other stuff going on here at the hotel too.
Yeah, I will
It's the
say that
epicenter when we host the Super Bowl in Tampa, the JW Marriott in that. Yeah.
back when it was 14 teams, I would go out on a limb and say that we would get an average of 8 to 10 coaches of those 14. We had access to every single player, and it just gets less and less and less. And it's because, look, they're controlling the narrative. They get to have their network, and everybody gets filtered to them.
Yeah, there's more demands than ever when they're at these events. So anyway, they've already announced it's in Nashville next year, so we'll see what next year holds. In Nashville, we're a little more familiar with.
When did we, wasn't it about this time, or it was a couple of weeks after last year where we were like, it's going to be in Tampa? And I think immediately we were like, we ain't going.
Tampa.
July 12th and 15th next year in Nashville. We're not counting down to that or anything, though. The show brought to you by our friends at Crane U. Crane U gets us closer and closer to our 40 and 40 here.
Yeah, Crane U wants to remind you, if you're curious about a career in the crane industry, the first big step, always getting certified, becoming fully compliant. You can do it right there with our friends at Crane U on site at their location in Leeds. Crane U is your all-in-one destination for the crane certification success. From first-time operators to seasoned professionals seeking the recertification, their industry-leading training programs built for all experience levels, backed by a team with over 100 years of combined real-world expertise. Crane U will deliver the knowledge, hands-on skills, and confidence you need to succeed in the field. Inspections, training, certifications, whatever you need, Crane U's got it handled. One call you make and you're good. Whether you talk to Francis or Nicole, make sure you tell them the next round sent you. For more information, craneu.com. That is craneu.com.
Hey, shout out real quick to our buddy Brad, who watches and listens to the show. He and the family down at Turks and Caicos and sporting the next round gear out by the pool. So thanks, Brad, for listening. Is that a Mississippi State T-shirt, by the way?
It is. Like his wife, we talked about Amy Jackson. She passed away on Christmas of this past year, and they had this trip planned. And on his left there is Mary Bradford, who just got engaged, and they had a +1 or an extra. And so in Amy's place, they took her fiance, and he is Brad's an Alabama grad, one of my fraternity brothers, but he sports State all the time because of his, his great wife.
When I see that State, that I always think of Mississippi State. If I just see State on a shirt, I think of Mississippi State. So that's their best logo.
It is.
Like that,
but I've always pointed out, like every state in the SEC, every state representing the SEC, when they're talking about Mississippi State, they just call them state. And
That's right.
almost every one of those states has a school in their state. Like we have Alabama State, you've got Georgia State, you've got South Carolina State. But in every one of those states, state is just Mississippi State. It's not the state that's in your state.
But it's kind of, I know LSU goes by LSU, but it's kind of hard to be in a conference 16 deep and you've only got one state.
That's right. So they get it. Now, you can't do this in the Pac-12. In the Pac-12, you say state, and we don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but beautiful trip down there. We appreciate him supporting the gear. You can get your T-shirts at TNR, our store there, Next Round Store, nextroundstore.com, nextroundstore.com. We appreciate you guys so much. All right. As we
nextround.store,
nextround.store. I didn't say anything like that. Nextround.store, nextround.store.
on there too.
That's right.
Tyler's got the
my favorite hoodie.
Yeah.
Good.
Nextround.store, nextround.store. That gets us to our 40 and 40, brought to you by our friends at Hoover Toyota, hoovertoyota.com, as we count down one team every day to the start of the college football season.
Hey, if you're in the market, whether it's car, SUV, or truck, new or pre-owned, our friends at Hoover Toyota, best inventory out there. Again, that red carpet program. Get in, see Scott, Harold, Kim, all the fine folks there. Highway 150, conveniently located right there, or online, hoovertoyota.com.
All right, new week, Forrester. Give us the big panel. You see all the teams we've brought down now from 40 to 31. From Nebraska to NC State, Duke, Virginia, a lot of the ACC, Vandy in the SEC, TCU, Boise, Illinois, Arizona, Virginia Tech, the last team we did Friday at 31. Today at 30, we get our second SEC team. Here is South Kakalaki. Is that what you used to call him, Brownie? South Kakalaki.
That's what Fitzy called him. South
I
Kakalaki.
never understood that, but this is such a interesting year for Shane Beamer. You look overall, 33-30, hasn't done a bad job, but he's coming off a 4-8. You had what was viewed as, one of the top 5 quarterbacks coming into college football in 2025 in Lenore Sellers, and the regression under Mike Shula as the offensive coordinator. Significantly from 24 to 25, completion percentage down from 65 to 60%. Touchdowns were down, more turnovers, also 400 less rushing yards. And this was a South Carolina team that wasn't even close last year. Only 2 of the 8 losses, 1 possession. They were beaten by 14 plus 4 different times last year. And you start to look at the schedule. It's pretty brutal.
I tell you, and we'll hear from Shane Beamer. When you look at the schedule, Jim, after we hear from the coach, he's got a chance to get the dogs off his back early on.
Okay. Before that, though, here's Shane Beamer on just how bad they were in the fourth quarter. Remember, they were beating Alabama until the very end of the game. Here's Shane Beamer with our buddy Connor O'Gara.
We were awful, just to be frank, in the fourth quarter last season. So as the head coach, I look back and say, okay, why weren't we good enough in the fourth quarter? I think we had like 7 one-score games that were 7 games that were 1 score or less going into the fourth quarter, and we just didn't play great. So I got to go back as the head coach, say why did that happen, and be better in the fourth quarter. And a lot of that is the experience and the leadership that maybe we were lacking. And again, that's not making excuses. You're right; it's a bottom line business, and we were 4-8. We were nowhere near good enough, and it's my job as the head coach to be better. And I feel like we've always done a good job around here of when we get off track, we course correct and we get back on track and get back on course, and that's what we're hard at work trying to do.
I would tell you, Lance, they let Alabama off the hook, I thought. And Texas A&M, they were blistering them at halftime.
That's not even off the hook. Texas A&M, they exhumed
31-3 at half.
They exhumed the body and breathed life back into Texas A&M.
I'm glad you didn't say they rolled a stone away.
I do think Shane Beamer's throwing himself under the bus there because to me, bad fourth quarters, that is coaching, that's quarterback play. The offensive line was awful. 43 sacks allowed, 131st nationally, 125th in third down conversions. They were 15th in total offense. The only offense worst in the SEC was Florida. They only scored 30 points 3 times last year. That is really, really difficult to do, especially when you got a guy like Nick Harbor, maybe the biggest wide receiver in college football at 6'5", 240.
He's a beast, man.
Obviously you've got a potentially elite quarterback in Lenore Sellers. You got a coach making elite money and $8 million a year from Shane Beamer.
So here's the path to how he can get the dogs off his back a little bit early on. Like, even if you still lose week 4 in Tuscaloosa, the night game in Tuscaloosa, even if you lose that, I can paint you a 5-1 start for them. Kent State, Towson, yep. Mississippi State, they should win all those. You lose to Alabama. And then this is your path. I mean, you got to beat Kentucky and you got to win at Florida. First year coach at Florida, first year coach at Kentucky. You're getting one of those at home. You do have to go to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. It'll be a tough spot. I mean, if he is 5-1 going into the bye week, I think some of the critics shut up. The problem for him is the back half of that schedule.
Yeah, well, I was going to say he could be 5. The only way I think Shane Beamer survives, and again, he hadn't done a bad job. 3 of the 5 years have been 7+ wins. It's just been very, very inconsistent with big-time down moments like last year. But if they're not 5-1, I don't think there's any way he survives because even at 5-1, there's still a good chance you end up 6-6.
5-1, he still may miss a bowl.
Yeah.
Now, I think he'll get there because he's got Arkansas in the back half, but he could still miss a bowl even at 5-1.
And I don't know if South Carolina's got a number in their head that he's got to win. Like, I don't think 6 games is good enough, and that schedule is going to be really difficult to win more than 6. I don't think there's any way Shane Beamer survives. If he does, he did a really, really, really good job this year.
If he's 4-2,
who's the other
at the bye?
Let's just say it's Florida.
He's lost to Alabama
That's
and
2 road games.
and he's coming off a loss to Florida and he's 4-2.
That's 2 road losses.
Do you pull the plug then?
No,
you can't.
I don't think you can. But he's probably. You know why you don't, Jim? Because you think he's about to bury himself. So for those that are listening and not watching, after the bye they host Tennessee. They are at Oklahoma. They host Texas A&M. They are at Arkansas. They host Georgia. They are at Clemson. So you got road games at Oklahoma, at Arkansas, at Clemson. You host Tennessee, Texas A&M, Georgia. I mean,
so
that's a tough finish.
What if they are 3-0, they lose to Bama, lose to Kentucky, lose to Florida?
Then you probably
do. Then you probably do.
Because,
Like, I think they're only going to be favored in 5 games.
That's South Carolina, who we somehow have them propped up at number 30
Yeah, how did
in
we
our
do
countdown.
that?
Voted on by you guys and us up here. Carolina, number 30 in our 40 and 40 countdown, brought to you by our friends at Hoover Toyota, hoovertoyota.com. Unbelievable inventory.
Didn't get a vote for me. I mean, they probably, they have one of the top 40 rosters in college football, but based on that schedule, I'll be surprised if they get bowl eligible.
No vote for me either. Central State Bank. Before we get to one more thing in our viewing menu, tell us about Central State Bank.
It is the bank that is big enough to meet every single need you have, but they're small enough to know you because they are a community bank. They are in your community, based right here in Central Alabama, hence the name Central State Bank. What does that mean for you? That means the people that are making the decisions that impact your everyday are people that their spouses work with your spouses. You go to the same churches, the same ball fields, your kids go to school together. That's the people that are making the decisions, not some disassociated stuffed suit somewhere else in America. They are right here in your community. That's what it's like dealing with a community bank. Central State Bank, big enough to meet every need you have, small enough to know you. Central State Bank member, FDIC.
All right, Steve Sarkisian was part of the coaches that were speaking at the Texas high school football convention before their season gets going. A lot of the FBS coaches are up there. Right next to him, Joey McGuire. Here is cut number 2, Tyler. This is from Joseph Duarte on Twitter. Sark and Joey McGuire side by side, and Sark always going to make it awkward.
I think first and foremost, Joey and I are good. We're sitting next to each other, y'all, so we're all good up here, okay? So.
Joey hugs it back. I wonder if they're all good, but, PR guy, there's Sark controlling the situation, putting his arm around little brother and pulling him in there. That's why
right.
I think Joey went back and put his arm around Sark there at the end just to get that photo out there to where it's not just big brother wrapping his arm around me, rubbing my forehead, saying everything's okay.
Yeah, if I'm a Texas fan, I don't know which coach I'd rather have. Honestly, like, Sark is such a good offensive play caller, but the guy has lost 20 games in 5 years at Texas. So disappointing last year, but this is the year where he's got to make noise. Absolutely has to. He has got, in my opinion, just talked about one of the, maybe South Carolina's got one of the most talented 40 rosters in football. They have, in my opinion, the best roster coming back, especially with what they got in the transfer portal. The schedule is always going to be difficult, but if they don't go 10-2 or better and get to a college football playoff, it is a disaster.
So you remember when the power booster there, Cody Campbell, came out and publicly challenged Texas. We'll play anytime, anywhere, you name it, let's go. And we were like, how do you respond to that if you're Texas? How do you respond to that? We wanted to see the game, but how do you respond to it? Yeah, it turns out that story really got buried once Brendan Sorsby got ruled ineligible and all the court cases and he left and all that. People really don't talk about that anymore. So in the long run, Texas just basically ignoring them and being the big brother actually was the right move in that deal.
Sark is down in Tampa at SEC Media Days on Thursday with LSU. Lane Kiffin Day on Thursday. Auburn's Day is tomorrow. Alabama's Day is Wednesday. Today it's Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. We'll hear from Connor O'Gara coming up to start hour number 2. Right now, though, the viewing menu brought to you by the wonderful folks at Michelson Laser Vision, LT.
So you have thought about LASIK before. You've heard about it. If you've been around me and talked to me about it, I am very passionate about it. It was one of the best decisions I made back in my radio days. I had the contacts. I wore them for about a decade. Didn't even realize that I had 2200 vision, was legally blind without without the aid of contacts. Went and got the procedure done way back in 2003. I still have 2015 vision, better than 2020. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. When you make that call, make sure you ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, 0 to lose, to find out if LASIK is right for you. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
By the way, Odyssey, Tyler, made its budget back in 48 hours.
Man, that is insane.
It pulled $260 million over the weekend, so about halfway for the studio recouping their budget.
I've heard mixed reviews too. Like even talking to you, I reached out to Tyler and I was like, "What did you think?" And he was like, "Not Nolan's best. I gave it a 4 out of 5." He was like, "If you see it, definitely see it in IMAX because first film ever done in all IMAX cameras." And I guess some of the film does get cut if you're watching on a regular theater screen.
Yeah. So if you're not watching an IMAX 70 millimeter, a lot of the top and bottom of the frame are cut or cropped out. If you're seeing it in a regular theater,
and it's not just IMAX. I didn't know this. Like the one we have here doesn't work. Like it's a different kind of IMAX. There's only 41 in the world.
But so even the one we have downtown doesn't work for it?
Correct.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah,
So-
and the reason there's not more 70 millimeter screens is because IMAX simply can't make more projectors. They don't know how anymore. They've lost
Somebody die?
They've lost the ability to. So what they do now for the current 70 millimeter projectors is they have to find and restore old ones.
So let me ask you this. Why, if you're Nolan, do you film this entire thing in IMAX knowing that there's such a limitation to that?
To say you did it.
It sounds like an ego play.
I've been going back and forth on if it's actually anti-cinema to film it in a format that only, a handful of people can see. Like you're
not
only
really smart where we are with the cinema world, right?
I agree because you want to watch some great cinematography in a Nolan film, but everything in the Odyssey, if you see it on a regular screen, is just a close-up of Matt Damon's face.
Okay, so what was the highlight and what was a little off?
Highlights of the movie, the third act. The third act rips. It's awesome. Odysseus coming home, the test with the famous test with the bow going through the axes. That's great. I thought Tom Holland was great as Telemachus. Robert Pattinson as the antagonist. Antinomus, I think his name was. Or Antinous. I don't know. They're all Greek names. He was absolutely fantastic, as always. Some things that I was disappointed in. Outside of the cropping, there was... the sound mixing was a bit muddy at points, but that's kind of typical for a Nolan film. And then they cut out the exchange between Odysseus and Polyphemus the Cyclops, the whole I am nobody back and forth. And I think that really just illustrates the curse that Poseidon later puts on Odysseus, where it's kind of glossed over a little bit in the movie. And it's also just an iconic piece of dialogue in all of fictional writing. So I really wish that had made the cut. But that being said, I still think it's one of the best movies of the year. It is, it's a cinematic just exhibition. It's fantastic, but not my favorite Nolan movie by far. Tonight, there's an AMC Screen Unseen, rated R, hour 46 minutes. Most likely going to be a movie called Motor City. In 1970s Detroit, John Miller falls for a local gangster's girl and lands in prison for a crime he didn't commit. With his life ruined, Miller hatches a plan for revenge. It's Alan Ritchson, a.k.a. Reacher, and whatever else he was in. Blue Mountain State. He was Thad.
Yeah, and he was in that, what was it, War Machine? The Netflix original?
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. And Shailene Woodley from Divergent and Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers' ex. Yeah, doesn't like to shower.
Oh, gross. The other option for the mystery movie tonight is called Her Private Hell, where a troubled young woman searches for her father as a mysterious mist engulfs a futuristic metropolis, unleashing a deadly and elusive entity. Her quest collides with an American GI who's on a harrowing odyssey to rescue his daughter from hell. It stars Sophie Thatcher from Heretic, and it's been described as a hypnotic, unhinged thriller. And then finally, since Spider-Man is coming out pretty soon, I need to hop back on the Daredevil show on Disney Plus because I kind of put that on hold during the World Cup because there was just nothing else in my brain for the past month and a half.
Yeah, me and Jack started watching Daredevil. I think I'm 4 episodes in the original.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. I don't, we don't, it's not a priority.
Right. And that's all I got.
All right. That's what Tyler's watching. We go to Tampa. Our Culver's SEC Media Days coverage, Connor O'Gara, coming up on the other side. This is the next round, brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
Facing time for a crime, huh? Got a list of charges looming over your head. 5-0 got your back up against the wall. Them alphabet boys trying to sit you down on that rack. Well, have no fear. The People's Defender is here. Attorney J.B. Brown, powered by Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorney. He meticulously investigates every case and challenges evidence. Dedicated to protecting the rights and futures of individuals facing criminal charges. Hit him up now at thepeoplesdefender.com. Thepeoplesdefender.com.
Physical office location, Birmingham.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Next Round shirts, Next Round hoodies, and Next Round hats all in one place, nextround.store. Find your favorite piece of gear from your favorite show and put it in your rotation. You never know, you might be in one of our videos showing Next Round gear being worn all over the world. Find all of your favorite Next Round gear by visiting nextround.store. Place an order for you and that big Next Round fan in your life at nextround.store. Look your best at work, at school, at the stadium, or anywhere you go wearing Next Round gear from nextround.store. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Our number 2 of the show, of the 4 teams at SEC Media Days today, Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee, nobody has a BetMGM win total more than 7.5.
Oh, so
Kentucky,
this is the...
Kentucky, well, I mean, the whole league is 9.5, right? So the highest one, but 4.5 for Kentucky, 6.5 for Eli and Missouri. And then a couple of 7.5 win totals for Oklahoma and Tennessee.
And I'll tell you, and some of those are going to go under. And if you're any of those three, Kentucky, anything can happen this year. Yeah. Everybody understands Will Stein's first year. But if Missouri, Oklahoma, or Tennessee, any of those go under that number, it is a disaster season for those three programs.
So you're basically telling me all three of these programs are telling them, like, hey, look around Tampa. You'll be thrilled to get back here in January. If this is where you're playing your last game, you'll be
Go
thrilled.
ahead and find a favorite place to eat.
Connor O'Gara, the OG Kickoff. They will follow us. You will not have to change anything. You just stay right here. He and Will Ogburn will follow us for an hour every single day at SEC Media Days. Our coverage from Tampa presented by Culver's. I cannot tell you how excited our friend Connor was when I told him, hey, by the way, your sponsor for SEC Media Days is Culver's. And Connor, you said what to me when I told you Culver's was the sponsor?
Well, guys, so there are very few people that have the true Culver's upbringing of going into the state of Wisconsin and knowing that if I am well behaved during this road trip on vacation, I'm going to get me a Butterburger and maybe we'll get a concrete and maybe we'll see about some cheese curds. So like I am the prime example of someone who grew up with a very nostalgic feel for Culver's. This is not an ad read. I am the person who also, if I want ice cream, like we're getting a concrete. I think I had a concrete on Friday. Yeah. I'm a double Reese's guy. I don't mess around. We just go with it.
Yeah, there you go. Culver's. Welcome to Delicious.
We know you love Culver's. We also know you love karaoke. Dunaway brought this up that you kind of headed up every year at SEC Media Days. I'm looking right here. It says La La Tampa or Tampa Karaoke VIP Bar and Lounge. Have you guys planned the karaoke night, or are you still doing it this year?
There are plans very much in place for it. I believe McDinton's is the place that my guy Ty Richardson has recommended. And it's not so much that I head it up. It's that I get the ball rolling. I get the word out there. I'm kind of a karaoke hype man. I like to make sure that the people who usually are in charge of running it, John Neighbors, Chris Gordy, guys who do great work here, I make sure that their initiatives are spread to the masses here, and I tell as many people as possible. And look, we'll see kind of what's in the works. I like to go to karaoke knowing that I got a couple of songs in my back pocket, and it just depends on the mood. You know, I've debated a little Toby Keith, little How Do You Like Me Now, kind of a mantra. Something that we've talked about a lot in the OG Kickoff over the years. We have How Do You Like Me Now victories for very specific head coaches. When they get them, you know what they are. Might do a little John Party, although his recent very public divorce, maybe not the best time to go back to that well. But nonetheless, we're going to be ready for karaoke. It will indeed be happening on Wednesday night here in Tampa.
I was only at one, and that was in Dallas. And I think I left before you sang. What was your song in Dallas? Do you remember it? And do you chop it up different every year?
We got to go different every year. I think it was Mr. Brightside in Dallas.
Oh, I'm a Killers fan. I missed that. I love the Killers.
Yeah, I love the Killers. I was thinking about it too, like kind of the song of my high school experience. You know, I went to high school from 2004 to 2008. Maybe that makes me sound old. Maybe it makes me sound young.
It's not on this show. No, not old at all on this show.
I did learn the median age in the world. What do you think the median age in the world is?
35.4.
It is not.
Oh.
39.
Believe it or not, it's 32.
32.
That'll make you feel old.
Well, I don't like hearing that one bit. That did not make my week feel like it's going particularly well. I'm going to have that just on top of mind the entire time I'm here, and I'm going to feel extremely old. So thank you for that perspective.
Yeah.
No problem.
Hey, you could be me in deciding whether to burn a timeout before the 2-minute warning or not.
That's another great point. That's another great point.
Dunaway's in the fourth quarter praying for overtime. Is that what you say?
Yeah, or extra time. I'm just hoping Spain's my goalkeeper.
Connor, I hate to turn it to college football, but I was listening this morning and our buddy Jordan Rogers, and I thought this was so interesting because I know you and Will are both Kalen DeBoer fans, as we are as well. But he mentioned 5 teams in the SEC that could make noise and get to a college football playoff, and Alabama was a team he didn't even mention. And I just wonder, and I think we talked about this on your show a couple of weeks ago, people have been waiting for this moment where they feel like they can pounce and Alabama is finally dead and gone. I don't know how they say that after 11 wins last year, but everybody looks at this Alabama roster this year, and they're like, I just don't see this team back in the college football playoff. But when you look at the schedule, it's a very forgiving SEC schedule. Like, Do you feel like it's almost universal down there with media members that everybody is just basically shitting on Alabama?
Yeah, there's a lot of it. My guy right over here, Michael Bratton, he's got Alabama finishing 9th in the conference.
My
So
God.
I mean, look, we're seeing a lot of anti-Bama takes. I think the schedule is forgiving. I think it's really forgiving. The middle part is difficult with the 4-game stretch that Bama can realistically go 2-2 and still survive. And I do think it's fair to have questions galore about the roster. I mean, I think you look at the secondary and you feel good about that. And then everywhere else, you've got question marks. Even at wide receiver, I'm a Lottie Brooks believer. I think Lottie Brooks could end up being the wide receiver 1 in that room, even with Ryan Coleman-Williams, who is now somehow 19 years old after all these years. I do think that this is a group, though, that has to answer a lot of questions, but those questions get answered if Keelan Russell's the guy. And if Keelan Russell is the righty Michael Penix, which that's kind of the vibe that I've been getting, then it changes what Alabama's capable of. Is this defense going to be a vintage Nick Saban level defense? No, I don't think that's fair to say that. Can they still find ways to be able to frustrate opposing offenses in this conference? Yes, I think that's the case. I think Kane Womack has shown that he can do that through his first 2 years in Tuscaloosa. So I think that Alabama deserves to be behind a lot of others in that conversation. Like, I had them at 6th in my preseason power rankings, but the difference between a team like Alabama compared to Oklahoma and Texas A&M is that the schedule is more forgiving, and the schedule has to be factored in if we're going to talk about long-term ramifications. And I think it's more of a year. It's a 2-year plan essentially right now that they've put in place with the way they've recruited in the portal. And if they can go 10-2 and get to the playoff this year, they're going to kind of feel like they're on schedule.
If you were ranking best secondaries in the country, I don't think you get out of the top 5 without mentioning Alabama. The concerns about their defense, is it linebacker and defensive line for you?
Yeah, and you got to find those pass rushers too consistently. I mean, that's going to continue to be a big question moving forward. I think that we've looked at Alabama though in past years and thought, oh man, look what they return at linebacker. They returned Dylan Moses and Henry Toe, and they should be really, really good. And we've kind of let that overshadow some of the other areas where they've maybe been a little bit short. And, even a couple of years ago, we're like, look at all this talent that they have in the secondary. And the secondary ends up being kind of a liability. So, I don't know in this day and age that you can expect anyone to have this unit top to bottom defensively that you feel like is really good with dudes at every level. I think Oklahoma might be the only group in the SEC where I feel that way. But I think that Alabama is going to have to let that secondary get some of those coverage sacks. I think that's going to be a big part of this season and what they're trying to do on that side of the ball. And then also, you're going to have to win games in a variety of ways. And that includes actually being able to run the football with a pulse. Because if you repeat what happened last year, there's just only so much that Keelan Russell in this offense is going to be able to do.
Connor O'Gara is with us. The OG Kickoff will be right after we are finished. You will not have to change anything wherever you are consuming us right now. It will come right to you live as soon as we are finished at noon today. Connor and Will take over and do an hour from SEC Media Days. Who's coming up today? Who you got on the show today?
We are going to have Brooks Austin. Great friend of yours,
Yep.
knower of ball. Brady Pickell is going to come on as well,
Okay.
fellow knower of ball. So, yeah, we're going to start off with some familiar faces, and let's see if we can get weird by the end of the week. That's kind of the goal by Wednesday and Thursday. Let's just get as weird as possible with our guests.
We like weirdness. One team that is there today, Brent Venables in Oklahoma. I would make the case to you, Connor, that there probably is no larger floor-to-ceiling gap as far as wins go in the conference in Oklahoma. So I could probably make a case for a 7-5, maybe a disastrous 6-6. Pull an upset at Georgia, I can make a case for an 11-1. Don't think it's likely, but potential outcomes, floor to ceiling. I don't know that there's a bigger gap than Oklahoma in the conference.
If Brent Venables goes 11-1 with that schedule, National Coach of the Year discussion.
No doubt.
Like, Ryan, we talked about this the other day on the Connor O'Gara show. Oklahoma's schedule has so many opportunities for narratives to form because I have them going 9-3. And it's interesting, you heard Greg Sankey talk today about how they had this frustrating conversation with the college football playoff about strength of schedule, and they're still just not on the same page. They want to see the SEC have these metrics that are factored in with now playing this 9-game conference schedule, knowing that they still require their teams to have this power conference game in non-conference play. And Oklahoma is one of those teams that I'm looking at going, I think they've got 9-3 written all over them. And I think they could find themselves in a really similar position that we saw Texas in last year. And I think if you gave Greg Sankey some truth serum, he'd say, yeah, Texas, we felt like they did enough to be able to earn a spot in the college football playoff. We can just ignore what happened in the swamp and pretend like they didn't lose to a 4-win team with a lame duck head coach. But nonetheless, there are going to be conversations in the SEC this year that are about what does 9 wins look like. We have not seen a breakthrough 9-3 team make the 12-team playoff. And Oklahoma is that team where, man, you see the marquee games, even in the front half of their schedule, having to go to Michigan. You have to go to Georgia. You have Texas and Red River. You have 3 games against teams that are like maybe going to make the playoff that are all away from home in the first half of your schedule. Like, there are going to be some narratives formed about Oklahoma, and I can't wait to see what's next. You know, the first person I saw here in the elevator, I'm going down to like get my credential, do all that stuff. John Mateer walks in the elevator, and I say, "Oh, any AI photos of you lately?" Because he looks big, like he doesn't need AI. And I said, and he laughed, and I said, you know, the problem is that they did the AI photos for everybody. You didn't need them. Like, I think you would have been fine if it was just you, and I think we all just would have assumed that you're just, you know, in the best shape of your life.
Another really interesting study there right now is Josh Heupel. Like, I don't think people realize when you look at his 5 years and Sark's 5 years, it's identical as far as record. And Heupel, though, coming off an 8-5 just 2 years ago there in the college football playoff, but I've got some Tennessee fans that they're unsure about Heupel. I don't know what the feeling is there. I don't think there's much of an expectation, unlike Oklahoma, who has their quarterback. I don't know how good Tennessee feels about quarterback situation in back-to-back years now.
That's the strange part. You know, nothing about the way that the Nico situation played out was part of the plan for Tennessee. Now, credit Josh Heupel. Winning 8 games is not something that should be taken for granted on Rocky Top with the way that the 21st century has played out, really just the post-Fulmer era. But I do think that you're entitled to ask those questions about this program. What does the floor look like? Is this Jim Knowles defense in year 1 going to be up to snuff? Because they lose Chaz Coleman in the offseason, and this weird situation with the very decorated transfer coming over from Penn State who was supposed to help that year 1 transition. And you're wondering how much pressure is going to be on a first-time starting quarterback, no matter who it ends up being. Is it going to be Faison Brandon? Is it going to be George McIntyre? And what do the surrounding pieces look like? They have a really good punch at 1-2. The 1-2 options at receiver with Staley and with Matthews. You expect Deshaun Bishop, a guy that's going to be here at SEC Media Days, is going to do a lot of heavy lifting. He could have a 1,000-yard season. Nobody would be surprised in the Josh Heupel offense. But, you know, what does it look like game to game? Because when you're coming off a season that's mostly hollow and you don't have a victory against an FBS team that finishes with a winning record, everybody's looking around and go, man, what was the last time we had a win that made us feel really good? Winning in the swamp made you feel really good because you hadn't done that in a couple of decades. But, you know, Florida was what it was last year. So I don't know if it necessarily moved the needle or changed how people felt about Tennessee. I think people have a lot of questions about Josh Heupel in year 6. And it's a reminder, optics matter in this sport. Pay attention to those optics in the latter half of the schedule.
Before I ask the question, Eli Drinkwitz is not standing anywhere close to you, right? He's nowhere close to you.
I don't see him.
Okay.
I think we're good. I think we're good. I got some not so great things to say about Drink if you want to hear.
Yeah, wow. I don't want to talk bad in front of somebody's face. I'd rather do it behind their back. I mean, good year last year. They won like 8 games again. But do they ever? I mean, that's a lot. But do they ever beat anybody who's good? You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems yeah.
Jim, I got the stat for you. This is the stat you put in your back pocket with Mizzou. Eli Drinkwitz, in his entire time at Mizzou, he's now the second longest tenured coach in the SEC, right? Like, this is year 7 he's going into. He has yet to beat an SEC team that has finished with a winning record in conference play.
That's right? What I saw. Yes.
So think about that. You know, he had the great bowl win against Ohio State. Since then, they've won 0 games against ranked teams. They have lost 8 consecutive games against ranked teams. They have had opportunities that have been there. I thought that team last year was good. Like, I thought their defense, the way that they've been able to hit on some of these guys in the portal, man, like Damon Wilson, the second coming over from Georgia. I thought Zion Young was a super underrated guy who was here last year representing Mizzou. Like, they've done a lot of really good things with their evaluation that have made me think, like, wow, they can take that next step. And now, oh, by the way, you have an $11 million head coach now who's on a $64 million contract. Your best player this offseason was shot. TBD on what Ahmad Hardy's status is going to be. All I know is that Jamal Roberts is here. That's the other running back in that backfield that figures to get a decent amount of work this year. But there are questions about what it's going to look like. You have now your offensive play caller that you've had the last 3 years is off to his first head coaching job, and you're now in a spot where you bring in Garrett Riley, a former Broyles Award winner who apparently was just meaningless at Clemson running the Chad Morris offense. And you bring in someone in Chip Lindsey that, talk to people who will tell you some good things about the offenses that he runs, but it's still a lot of questions for a program that, as we mentioned with Tennessee, when you have some of these hollow win seasons, you kind of look up going, how good are we really?
Connor, and it's a fool's errand to rank coaches. You're always just going to get, people are going to get pissed no matter what. You either don't have their guy high enough, got somebody too high, whatever. We ranked the SEC coaches. And then I can't even remember how this challenge came about. Then we ranked the Big Ten and the SEC coaches. We ranked them together.
Yep. I got my list right here still.
And the most consistent feedback I got was not necessarily who was at the top of the list. I got a lot of Kalen DeBoer feedback. The most consistent feedback I got was Will Stein. I got a lot of people in the college football universe saying, you guys are sleeping on Will Stein. And my point was always, Will Stein's never been a head coach for one singular game. It's kind of hard for me to rank him in front of some of these guys. You've had him on the OG Kickoff. He is there today. I assume you're just as impressed with his work as everyone that told me we had him way too low in our rankings.
I had him in dead last in the SEC for that exact reason. We're at a time now in this conference in which everybody else has been a head coach for multiple games. And I say multiple games because Pete Golding last year with the way the situation played out. But I think you have to at least start him there. Now, if you're asking me to predict where these coaches are going to end up, I'll buy all the Will Stein stock possible. I think what he did at Oregon is so impressive in this day and age to take 3 different quarterbacks from the transfer portal and have a lot of success with them. One of the things that we talked about when he came on the OG Kickoff was how basically when he started there, and he's kind of this, not really a household name in the sport, Bo Nix sits him down and basically interviewed him for 45 minutes because Bo Nix has had all these different offensive coordinators, and he's like, all right, you're really going to maximize my abilities. And then Bo Nix gets to New York that year. And then what happens after that? Well, we get Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel plays a really, really high level. And then Dante Moore last year for a good amount of the season. People are like, is this guy going to win the Heisman Trophy? Could Oregon win a national championship for the first time? Will Stein has done some great things in his career to get to this point wherein he's the 3rd youngest coach that we've seen in the SEC ever. And this is someone who I think that Kentucky fans are so excited to see because it's a vibe changer. They needed a vibe changer. Let's not dismiss the fact that last year, this offense, which as Will Stein has said, could not score points. Their answer was to bring in Zach Calzada to run the offense. What year is this? What in the world are we talking about? Instantly, Will Stein is giving you more offensive credibility. Whether or not it works out on defense, that's more of a long-term picture. But I think he's going to be able to do some things year one with how adaptable he's been at Oregon. Yes, with great resources, but they've recruited the portal really well. I would buy stock in Will Stein. And even if you have him dead last in your coach rankings, I don't think he's going to be there for very long.
You got him ahead of Ryan Silverfield in the SEC. I mean, go look at that guy's official photos with Arkansas that were posted over the weekend. He looks like he's ready to sell me something.
All right. Let's not do the thing where we assume that just because, based on looks, this coach or that coach, there have been plenty of coaches that have not necessarily looked like they've belonged, and they've been just fine. They've been just fine. Ryan Silverfield, to his credit, has gotten to this point having won a lot of these one-score games. And that's the biggest thing that Arkansas just could not figure out during the Sam Pittman era, is how to win these close games. And so he brings at least that level of experience, and this is someone that has had a top 25 finish and has had, winning seasons at Memphis. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though he did inherit a good situation from Mike Norvell, and they never made an American Conference championship, even though they lost their 4 best teams to power conferences. We don't need to go down that road, but I'll at least give him the slight bump ahead of Will Stein. I have more questions about Ryan Silverfield than Will Stein.
Okay, Connor, I understand the narrative about Dabo Swinney maybe has lost his fastball at Clemson. I don't get it with Kirby Smart in Georgia. I'm looking at article today, ESPN, can Georgia get its national title swagger back? This is a guy that is still, since winning his last national championship, 21-3 in the SEC over the last 3 years. The last 2 years, I think we would all agree, bad break losing Carson Beck, the play before halftime in the SEC championship game, going into a college football playoff with Gunnar Stockton with no starting experience. And then last year, they hit a buzzsaw with a bad draw in Ole Miss, who was playing with a chip on their shoulder after losing Lane Kiffin. Do you believe, well, I'll just ask you this. I'll put the number at 1/2. Will Kirby Smart ever win another national championship?
I think he will. I think Georgia's still going to end up being the team of the decade in the 2020s. And if you recall, team of the decade status is all but cemented once you get that third national championship that Georgia is still chasing. But it's the fact that 3 consecutive years, you've had kind of this question mark with the way that Georgia's season has finished. And I won't do the whole thing where I revisit Florida State's roster in that bowl game a couple of years ago, but we know in a winner-go-home game, they lost to Alabama in the SEC championship. And these last 2 years, you've had these exits where you've kind of just been scratching your head. And I think for Georgia, it's been that a lot of the time during these SEC games, they've kind of struggled to look like this dominant force from the jump. I think they would have lost that game to Notre Dame even if Carson Beck had stayed healthy. We don't know how that would have played out, but that team was really herky-jerky. Like, go back to what they did in that 7 overtime game against Georgia Tech, the week before that. So I do think that this is still a team in which, you're going to say that's the standard of the SEC. They deserve to be the standard of this conference. What they can do when they get on that stage, it's now fair to question it when we've seen now the last 2 years losing games that I think early part of the 2020s, Georgia hasn't lost. It can't just be about depth. Oh, they're all beat up. No. It's adapt or die. And maybe it was just kind of more of a transition year last year. We'll see. This should be a championship level Georgia team. I think if they were to win it all this year, I don't think it would be some stunner. So I would definitely take the over on 0.5 for Kirby Smart.
All right, when we wrap here at 12, do not go anywhere. You'll not have to change anything on any of your live feeds. Connor and Will Ogburn will have the OG Kickoff live from Tampa coming up. A couple guests dropping by to talk SEC Media Days Day 1 with them. They'll be on from 12 to 1 Central Time. If you prefer it on demand, it'll be exactly the same places you always get the show on demand. That 1 hour will be on demand as well. So Connor kicking it off at 12 Central right when we are finished here, all presented by our friends at Culver's. Enjoy the rest of the day, Connor. We appreciate you swinging by.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
Hey, and I do need to tell you, as a friend, you missed a spot shaving. So,
oh wow, what, the whole beard?
No, down on your neck, like Adam's apple to the ringside finger, left side, just a little bit.
How did you see that?
How in the world? LT, what kind of Zoom cameras we got working?
He's got this LASIK surgery.
You feel it, don't you?
Goodness, man. We're calling out flaws today.
It's going to bother him the rest
of
of the day.
You know, man, like if you got something, right. If I had something in my teeth and we're at a restaurant, you would tell me, right?
Yeah.
Look, if I have a just a chunk of Butterburger that's just sitting right there, front part of my tooth,
tell me.
I want someone to let me know. So I appreciate looking out. Maybe I should just go up right now and just go finish the shave or something.
It's just one. Like, can we get a tight shot? Is anybody working the camera? I'll show you. Like it's just it's going to be one stroke. That's all you need.
Okay, all right. That's all you'll think about the rest of the day. Oh wow, I like that. All right, Connor. Thank you. Have a great day.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you. Connor O'Gara with us on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline.
I mean, I think socially acceptable. A text would have worked. I mean, a quick text, hey, you missed a spot shaving.
I mean, that's not like an embarrassing thing.
Well, I mean, I still remember it. We were at the steak restaurant paying off a steak bet, and I had missed a little part right here shaving, and you said, hey, you missed one little spot shaving. And I remember that to this day. Like, before I leave, I didn't shave today. Before I leave shaving now, I run my hands all over my face, all because of that one night.
Well, I mean, it's just something that jumps out to me. I'll never forget, I was at a wedding a couple of years ago, and the father of the bride, he had missed two little spots, and I'm like, damn, your wife must not like you at all. I mean, it's like one of your biggest days of your life, and you didn't even get a good shave in.
Storm Restoration Roofing brings you part of the show today. Happy birthday, belated over the weekend, to Greg from Pell City. Just a wonderful guy. He's been part of our show for a long time, and he'll do great work for you. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. 205-542-3531 for a free no-cost roof inspection. 205-542-3531. StormRestorationRoofing.com. Storm damage repairs, roof replacement when your roof ages out. Anything that goes on up there, you can find out initially what could go on up there. If anything's starting to trend badly for you, Greg gives you that free no-cost roof inspection, and he takes care of a ton of things, including a soft wash program to make your roof last longer and look newer. It's all right there at StormRestorationRoofing.com or Greg from Pell City. Here's the Ryan Silverfield pictures that Arkansas went out, and everyone instantly said, ooh, don't read the comments.
Oh, no.
That's the official pictures that they sent out of Ryan Silverfield.
I mean, arm crossed. It looks like a senior portrait.
Yeah.
Well, and it was like they took like 7 pictures, and they got the one where he wasn't looking at the camera.
That's exactly right. Both shots. Neither one of them is looking at the camera.
Ryan, look over here.
The one, no, over here. Now look over here. I keep looking at the wrong camera. It was like, what's the game with gophers that you're?
Oh, whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
And then the one where he's got his hands in covering his crotch down there. I think Vern Funquist, Chris Marla, friend of the show, said, hey, come on in, Discount Tires. We'll take care of you.
Well, I mean, it's like, who is in charge of their social media account? Like, I know Arkansas has been half-ass in football for the last decade, but like, this is not difficult to send out a picture of your head coach.
Right? I mean, somebody's eventually got to win at this job, don't they? Don't they?
Yeah.
Eventually.
I mean, look, it is. Donaway, you've been to Fayetteville. It's one of the few SEC towns I have not been to, but that is a passionate football town.
No, it is. It is.
Underrated downtown restaurant and night before the game scene.
Can be a difficult place to play. Ask Tennessee. Last time they went up there, they kind of got caught in the hornet's nest.
Yeah.
I mean, now listen, there are times it's not a difficult place to play. I watched the 11 a.m. SEC kick, SEC Network kick, where the stadium's half full. But when it's full and they're engaged, it can be a tough place to play.
Yeah, not an easy place to get to.
I just don't
by
know if
11 a.m. in the morning.
I don't know if this guy's going to do it though. Do you?
I would bet no.
Yeah, I would bet against it.
I mean, I just don't know that he was that good at Memphis.
No, that's something I've said. That Norvell left it better, and he never won anything while he was there, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I think Fuente set up Norvell. Norvell set up Silverfield, and Silverfield really didn't do anything with the setup.
Yeah. We'll do our 4 downs in the next segment. Later on, ESPN has polled head coaches, scouts, and executives for going into the season, the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't know if number 1 or 2 surprises you, but there are some guys on there. We'll show you that rankings and react to that coming up a little bit later in the show as well. One more thing quickly here while we're talking SEC Media Days, brought to you by our friends at Culver's. Youngest teams in the league. I forget who did this list. Sports Illustrated did it. I think Yahoo Sports did the story. Yahoo Sports, I'll give them credit. The youngest team in the Power 4 and in the SEC is the Georgia Bulldogs. Average age 19.8. Keep in mind, last year Indiana had 47 players that were 22 years of age or older. Georgia has average age is 19.8. They've got 87 players who are underclassmen, 52 freshmen on this team. Now, remember, we've expanded the rosters out to, I think, 125.
I don't even know where we are right now.
So some of that will be skewed a little bit, but they were a very young team. Other teams that are in the top 20 of youth in college football this year, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Alabama, Miami, Texas, and Notre Dame.
So they are among the youngest?
They are in the top 20 of the youngest team in Power 4 football.
Yeah.
So Georgia's the youngest at 19.8. They've only got 15 seniors on the entire roster. Other young teams, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Alabama, Miami, Texas, and Notre Dame. If that if that skews you at all.
Well, look, we're in a different era, and I do think experience matters. You can win with youth, but look at Indiana last year. They had so much experience. Again, it's one of the reasons I like Virginia this year. I know that sounds laughable, but they have, I think it's like 28 grad students on their roster. You know, when you're playing 22 and 23-year-olds against 19-year-olds, there is a difference there. There just is.
I was talking to a former coach the other day, and he was commenting. It's funny you bring this up. He was commenting on the fact that the coach he used to work for used to say, for every freshman I start, it's a loss. You know, every freshman I have to start, it's a loss on my record. And his point was, it's just not that way anymore. Freshmen come in better prepared to play than ever before in the history of football. So I just don't know how much being young is a detriment anymore. I know it used to be. I don't know that.
But let me ask you this:
anymore.
would you rather have a team that averages 19 years of age or one that averages 23?
Probably one that averages 23 if I'm at a bigger school, because if I'm at a small,
I want the good guys. I want the 5-star. I don't care how old they are.
I'm with Jim on that. But if I'm at a smaller school and I got a bunch of old guys, that means they weren't good enough to transfer anywhere. So I'm probably not very good, right?
Yeah. Or go to the NFL.
Or go to the NFL if I'm a bigger school. So I do think there's a happy medium somewhere. It obviously worked for Indiana, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the only way to do it.
Yeah, I do think this, back to Georgia, I think it's a really interesting year for Kirby because, you know, I brought the number up 21-3 the last 3 years in the SEC since the last time they won a national championship. But you got to tell me, like, the defensive line looked much different the last couple of years for Georgia.
Not as dominant.
Yeah, and you just don't have, like, the big-time playmakers, which I've never understood. But you go back to the last national championship, you had that, you know, with Ladd McConkey. You had it with Brock Bowers. I think Frazier's a good back, but I wonder if they've got any of those explosive guys on skill-wise, and then, you know, the defensive line. Those are the two questions for me.
For whatever this matters, and it probably doesn't matter much, this is about as under the radar as Georgia has been. I don't.
Kirby loves it.
Yeah,
I'm sure he does.
Maybe year two of Kirby.
Yeah, maybe.
They'll be top 6 in the AP poll.
Probably.
Yeah, and they'll get a vote.
17th.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But they feel under the radar. Am I wrong?
No.
I mean, you feel that way,
you're
don't
right.
you, Joe?
Yeah. And his free countdown to kickoff is right now at 41 days. 41 days until we kick things off. Your game day tradition is Innisfree Irish Pub in Tuscaloosa and Lakeview. Irish-inspired pub food, the signature Irish gold sauce, and always a world-class atmosphere. It is Innisfree, 41 days to kick off. And our friends at Inverness Country Club, Brownie, you had a chance to get out there and play a little golf over the weekend.
That's right. Played a little bit yesterday. They just wrapped up the big member guest event, the Nest. It is one of the great events they have every single year. And it's that great of an event because the people at Inverness. The people are what makes Inverness Country Club. Now, listen, you're going to meet the people as you go, but when you pick a country club home, there are going to be a lot of things you want to check off your list. So call Aaron and check those things off for the great tour at Inverness. So we're doing one over the weekend. 205-991-8608. That's Aaron's number. 205-991-8608. Ask for Aaron. Aaron Hilliard's her name. She'll give you a great tour of Inverness. You'll see the beautiful course, that great clubhouse with the wonderful food. You'll see the tennis facility that has just been remodeled. It is top of the world. You'll see that great resort-style pool with a cabana there for all the great food and drinks when you're out there soaking up the sun and getting in the nice cold water. All of that right there at Inverness Country Club. You can see it on the tour or visit online, iccalabama.com. The best days happen at Inverness Country Club.
You know, sometimes injury attorneys get a bad rep, being called ambulance chasers, showing up to the accident scene before the EMTs get there. At Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys, this ain't that. We get enough cardio, no need to chase ambulances. Look, if you're injured in any type of accident, don't accept a dime from the insurance company. Hit up the gators of the litigation situation. Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. Call 659-777-7777 or AlexWins.law.
Call me, Alabama. Physical office location, Birmingham.
Sterling and the fine folks at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster want to welcome you in for a great lunch or dinner starting at 11 a.m. every day. Chicken that's brined overnight and cooked to order, and the taste of the Delta with those Delta recipe tamales. Champy's is perfect for all your tailgating needs this football season. You can also choose Champy's for your next party, wedding, or birthday. Great food, great people. Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster, and everything online at champyschicken.com.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Never miss anything from the next round when you listen on demand through the podcast platform of your choice, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or Google Podcasts, wherever you listen. Always like, follow, subscribe, turn on automatic download so you can catch every part of the next round. Listen anywhere in the world, anytime on the Next Round podcast feed, and support the show by following, subscribing, and turning on automatic downloads on any podcast platform. Listen anywhere in the world, anytime on the Next Round podcast feed. Thanks for always making the next round a big part of your day.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
4 downs in a second. Best SEC offenses this year. Think about that. I'll ask you that question in just a moment as we get ready to go into the year. Give me cut 3, Tyler, if you will. The hardworking media down at SEC Media Days, bouncing around. John Mateer has been making his appearances. They have these side stages where you can go do not really one-on-one interviews, but you can ask the players questions and get video and interviews of that. Our buddy Chris Marler, who's down there, says that Mateer just said there's not really any time to think. If someone is open, you just throw it to them when talking about playing the quarterback position. Cut 3, Tyler, if we can. John Mateer basically has said all off season that the injury to his hand was a lot more difficult, a lot more intrusive into the way he played. It impacted him more than he let on last year as he was playing last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like he came back and played.
He didn't want to make it an excuse.
That's right.
Yeah, which you got to love, and I think that shows you a little leadership from Mateer. But Tyler brought up the Argentina goalie earlier that played with a broken finger. Look, and that's noble and all that, but it is much different when you're playing the quarterback position with a broken finger.
Yeah. Here's Mateer, though, and boy, looking at him, you can tell he is jacked up.
He is a linebacker.
Mateer on the accountability and the leadership on what happened last year at times with him at that position and how he's going to lead this Oklahoma team this year.
John, what is your leadership style? If somebody does well, what might you say? And then if somebody has an issue, how would you respond?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I've definitely raised my intensity on the we need to be better. I need to be better, and for that to happen, we all need to be better. Or for the team to be better, we need to be better. And so, when the mental errors come around, it's you kind of let them hear it a little bit, but there's a fine line, and I think I'm only able to do that because when they succeed, I try to do my best and give them their praise because they all deserve it, because there's a lot of guys doing a lot of good things. And then I hate to. You can't get onto somebody if you don't have a relationship with them, so you have to establish that first. So the whole winter, the whole spring, you're not just snapping on people because then they won't respect you. So you need the respect, and then you can go back and forth, and you got you talk to them. And I never want to just get on somebody to get on them. Because some people do it, it's like it's a reflection of themselves, and that's never the goal. It's always about the team, and we need to be better, and so that's what I try to do.
Yeah, listen, I don't think Oklahoma would have beat Indiana. Maybe they would have played them closer than Alabama, but the decision he made to throw that football right before the half and that pick six right before the half in Norman in the playoff game against Alabama, I don't know if it was his hand or if that was a mental decision. It was bad play calling, first off, that they were doing that at that time. To throw it out in the flat and get that picked and taken to the house was a game changer there. They shouldn't have blown that playoff game against Alabama, in my opinion.
They were up 17-0.
Yeah.
At home.
With that defense.
Alabama was in such a deep hole there. I honestly didn't think they were going to climb out. You were there. You probably had a better feel for it, Dunaway. I doubt you thought Alabama was climbing out of that hole.
No, I was sitting there when it was 17-0, wondering why I was there.
Yeah, why did I go all the way to Norman, Oklahoma?
Why did I go all the way out here?
Yeah, I don't have faith in the Mateer Arbuckle team. I just don't have faith in it.
Yeah, I don't know which one of us said that first last year, but I think the play calling there was as bad as the pass to me, that play calling in that position, at that situation.
Because, Lance, I just don't believe, in my heart of hearts, I don't believe it was all Mateer's injury in the second half of the season. I think some of it was coordinators caught up a little bit with Arbuckle, and Arbuckle was too slow to adjust.
I don't disagree with that, but what I would say is if you went back and watched 2024 Oklahoma, the offense was awful. So it was a step in the right direction. And I think if you can get 100% John Mateer, he's going to play with a ton of confidence. And I do think Arbuckle is going to learn a little bit in year two. Now, will it all come together? I don't know. But here's what's interesting to me is how he looks, Mateer. Like, I can't remember another, big buff quarterback outside of Tim Tebow.
Landry Jones? Or no, it was the Belldozer. Who was that?
Blake Bell, but he wasn't
even a starter.
No, and then the other one would be Will Levis, who wasn't productive at all. That's just a weird build for a quarterback to have. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
No, I agree 100%.
Tebow's the most like that.
Yeah. But he was just a specimen.
He was just different.
But for
all
Mateer
around,
to change his body like that over the offseason is very, very strange.
Yeah, so the game that often gets forgotten because it was played on Rivalry Saturday, which around here.
Yeah, no, I don't forget this. I was watching it at halftime of the Alabama-Auburn game.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma dang near missed the playoffs.
Yep.
They did everything but lose to LSU, and part of that was because Mateer had 3 interceptions in that game.
Yeah, what was that, 13-10 they win the game?
17-13.
17-13.
And it was, don't forget, I think it was Sarkisian he hits late in the game or something.
Yeah, it was 13-10. It was a long touchdown.
That's right, long touchdown.
It for Oklahoma.
Yeah, that saves it for Oklahoma on an LSU team going nowhere, an LSU team that had fired their coach. Season was over. And, I mean, they barely even got in the playoffs because of that one play over LSU.
Offense had run off the road.
Yeah, awful.
All right, Oklahoma's down there today. Their win total 7.5 with BetMGM. Before we do our 4 downs, tell us about New York Butcher Shop, LT.
First thing I did when I got back in from New Orleans on Saturday was go to the New York Butcher Shop to pick up a couple of steaks for Saturday night. Absolutely love it. The finest fresh meats there, both locations, the original Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone, the specialty items, those in-house sides made fresh every single day. Fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts as well. Get in, see Jim and the great staff of butchers. Again, 2 locations, rare quality, well-done service. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
And 4 downs presented every single day by our friends at Central Alabama Asphalt and Construction, the place to go. for that parking pad, that driveway for your house, maybe the parking lot for a church or a community center or a store there. The smaller jobs, right? Not a big road paving job. Now, Central Alabama Asphalt does a ton of those. The big federal, municipal government, state government jobs. But they also do those smaller jobs that you need at your home or your place of business. So it's the same quality, same crews, same no excuse standards, big or small. So for any estimate, give them a call, 205-349-0910, 205-349-0910, or visit them at centralalabamaasphalt.com.
First down.
Our number 30 team today, South Carolina. If I ask you guys, current job longer, Shane Beamer or Jeff Levy?
I'm personally agreeing with you. I think it's Jeff Levy. I don't think Beamer survives the year. Not that I think he's that bad of a
I agree.
Coach. I think he's a pretty good coach.
That's a tough job.
Yeah. So for me, Levy survives the year, and I don't think Beamer's back for next year.
I would like to know.
Let me ask you real quick, Brown. If he goes 2-10, Levy.
That's what I was about to say. Like, I just want to know what level of patience they're going to have with him. Even if they see improvement, but the record doesn't show it. Because that happened to him last year. I think state fans saw improvement. Better. They were a much better team.
Yeah, but they've gone through the death of a coach, hiring the defensive coordinator, firing the defensive coordinator, bringing Levy in. And what would this be, his third year?
Yeah, and then don't forget, even before the death of a coach, you had Joe Moorhead for 2 years, which was a bad fit. You punted him after 2 years. You found your guy with Leach, but unfortunately he passed away far too early.
Yeah,
Arnett was not going to work out. I mean, at some point you've got to say, we've got to let a guy try to see through this, right?
Yeah.
See
and
this
I think
through.
this is the guy. I think they'd be patient with Levy. Yeah,
I like Levy. I'm going to go Jeff Levy on this one.
Second down.
What would be a bigger wow for you guys? LSU misses the college football playoff, or LSU wins a national championship in year one under Lane Kiffin?
LSU, bigger wow.
Bigger wow is they win the national. Did you say national championship?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bigger wow to me. I'm not blown away if LSU misses the playoffs. It's a disappointment, but there's going to be a good SEC team not in the playoffs.
I get it, but
that's going to
heard,
happen.
and I've heard other people say this, not to this degree. Well, you heard Urban Meyer a couple of weeks ago, but Jordan Rodgers, back to him talking about 5 rosters that could make noise, and Alabama wasn't one of those. This morning, he said if he doesn't play for a national championship, it was a disappointment. He was like, Kirk Cignetti has changed everything, which he kind of has.
I will remind him, Kirk Cignetti did not play for a national championship his first year. If this is the guy that we're going to say has changed
I know,
everything.
but it was Indiana.
And the
agree.
schedule was very different the very first year. He did win it the second year and beat some really good teams. I'm with Brown. If LSU is 9-3 and outside of the playoffs, then it's a good year, not a great year at LSU. But winning the national championship's a bridge too far with Sam Leavitt at quarterback.
Well, and
that's your limiting factor.
That would be the bigger wow, because then all of a sudden you're like, okay, this is a guy that just led, and then I will correct myself on being completely wrong on Lane Kiffin, because he won 11 games in back-to-back years at Ole Miss. And then the first year taking over LSU, he wins a national championship. Like, that would be scary for the rest of the SEC.
I would agree.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all on that part right there. But, I mean, Jim, could you even see maybe, and then this is, just one of those off-season discussions we have, where a 10-2 team misses, and it could be LSU. I mean, if you've got
I don't think.
No.
I mean, I guess
if you've got a glut of 10-2 teams, is my point. Now, I don't know mathematically how many you could have, but
I need to do the math to see if that's possible.
Well, if I hate doing these scenarios, but
I bet you could find 4 or 5.
If Georgia or Texas, loser of the SEC championships, 10-2, and the other one's 11-1. Now you got 2 teams there. For Alabama's 10-2, and they've beaten LSU. That's one of LSU's losses. If Oklahoma with that schedule is 10-2, now I've got 4 right there. You could easily make a case in front of LSU. I'm just saying, a 10-2. I mean, there would be a path that a 10-2 gets
last year you had 5 10-win teams in the regular season.
Yeah.
And then Texas and Vanderbilt won their bowl games, so they both got to 10 wins.
Yeah.
Third down.
Forrester, you'll love this. Chris Cornell would have been 62 years old today. Better career, Chris Cornell or Frank Beamer?
Come on.
I mean, I agree with you.
Come on.
But, I mean, Beamer did pretty amazing things.
Yeah, Beamer was pretty remarkable.
Chris
coach,
Cornell, greatest Mount Rushmore of rock and roll voices.
It is one of the best voices.
Right, we got some cosigns.
I would co-sign on that
Dunaway
too.
randomly started singing a song that may or may not have been Soundgarden.
No, I'm just saying that you're saying that's top 4 of all time.
Just voices, the uniqueness, the range. I mean, it was.
He might even be the best for me.
I almost went there.
I mean, beautiful, especially when you're talking about that genre.
Chat room and hard for Cornell too. Chat room says it's not even close.
Unbelievable, but let's remind ourselves that Frank Beamer took over a Black Hole Sun and turned it into a winner. A place that has had nothing but gasoline poured on it since.
Okay.
Jim was right about this. Jim was right.
Gasoline's not a Soundgarden, but I see what you did there.
No, but it's a Chris Cornell single hit. Yeah.
Chris Cornell, I mean, I know like old school
Audio Slave.
Old school Soundgarden fans are going to hate me saying this, but him doing the Sinead O'Connor cover probably to me showed his vocal capabilities better than anything ever.
So
did.
we were randomly in.
What are you laughing at, Scott? You don't think so?
You haven't listened to much Soundgarden, have you?
No, I'm just saying showed his vocal capabilities.
Well, I think the vocal capabilities.
I think Soundgarden's catalog does that.
So it does, but we're sitting in Lafitte's, which is the oldest bar in New Orleans. It's one of my favorites. But the interesting thing is they've got no natural lighting in there because it was built in 1770. But they do have that jukebox, and they've had that for like the last 15 years. And we get in there, and the second song they're playing Hunger Strike. And all I can think about is how much he outsings Eddie Vedder on that track.
And I'd put Eddie Vedder in the Mount Rushmore of rock and roll voices.
But you would he crushes Eddie Vedder on that track.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That might be one of my favorite vocal performances ever.
Okay, there's only 4. This is the way we do top 5 teams in this or that. We'll start naming them off, and our top 5 ends up being 17 teams at some point. So you only get 4. So you've named Vedder and Cornell.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 2 more. Who are the other 2?
Robert Plant.
Robert Plant.
I was going to say Robert
one.
Plant was going to have to make y'all's list at some point.
There's no doubt.
You know what's funny is I'm reading Hammer of the Gods right now for the first time, and I knocked out like beautiful girlfriend Maddie was able to drive us home where I could read Hammer of the Gods, but I did like 85 pages on the way back.
That's the least shocking than LSU missing the playoffs.
But like there was a time like when they first got together that Robert Plant was going to be the odd man out. They couldn't decide, like too flamboyant. He looks too feminine. Like, we don't know about this voice. And then you see the transition after 2 tours. Like he is the biggest star in Led Zeppelin.
Well, I mean, half of the time he was just like moaning into the mic. It's like
that is a powerful ass voice though. And you saw it in Led Zeppelin 3.
Axl in his prime.
Unfortunately,
it fell off so
the
fast.
more he started looking like Mark Stoops, the worse his voice got.
To y'all's point, though, the robot, in no particular order, Robert Plant, Chris Cornell are on the Mount Rushmore of. Freddie Mercury is 3.
Yeah, that's good.
Got to.
And then they put Steve Perry 4th.
I was going to say Steve Perry, but I think a lot of people think Journey is just kind of hairband, ballady.
His voice, though,
Steve
so
Perry's
freaking incredible. And then Freddie Mercury, I know you shit on him back there, Forster, but the range of Freddie Mercury was crazy.
Yeah, I've never been a big Queen guy, but I think Freddie Mercury's a lock for that list.
It's such a great frontman. Yeah. Those 4, I'll go with the robot.
Go with that,
yeah. Freddie Mercury, Steve Perry, and then Eddie and Chris.
Yeah, got no problem.
Oh, you can't leave Robert Plant.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
No, I'm not putting Eddie. Eddie's bumped.
Yeah, Eddie's off.
Billboard goes Jagger.
Nah, that's overrated.
Stevie Nicks 2, factoring in a female. Freddie Mercury 3. And number 4, Robert Plant.
Stevie Nicks has a great voice.
Kurt Cobain 5. David Byrne, Talking Heads 6. Debbie Harry, Blondie.
Talking
George
Heads.
Clinton.
Basically talks.
Bono.
I don't know if I'd call that a great vocal performance.
And Axl Rose 10th, according to Billboard.
4th down.
Another musical legend, Carlos Santana, 78 years old. 79 today, excuse me. Ultimately better career, Carlos Santana or Charles Barkley?
I watched Air over the weekend. I'm late watching that one. I had no idea how big a part Charles played in that, how much they talked about Charles Barkley in that movie. Obviously, I knew he was intrinsically tied with
Nike,
both Jordan and Nike, but I just didn't know he was covered that much in the movie. The funniest line is, and I know they threw this on there on purpose. I think it was Jason Bateman that said, "Nobody's ever going to want to hear from Charles Barkley." Everybody wants to hear from Charles Barkley now. So I think because of that, I'd go Charles Barkley.
I mean, just Santana's longevity. If you look back on some of these like Woodstock and he's still performing, I think it's really crazy what Santana's been able to do. I've never liked that music. Like, he's obviously, I don't know, where would you put him? Top 20, 25 guitarist of all time?
I would say so. He's never been, like, I've never been a big Carlos Santana guy. Like, I like him all right.
It's almost racket because of the, like, it's not jam band, but it's like, we're going to play this guitar for 11 minutes on this. And so, but I respect the fact, the longevity and a high level he's been able to do it. I mean, I would go Chuck, but I think it's close.
I know of at least 3 Charles Barkley statues. One outside the
good point.
Auburn Arena,
one
outside the Sixers Arena, and one outside Leeds High School.
I forgot about that one.
So what do you
How many does Santana
have?
have?
I'm finding out right now.
3 statues.
I bet he's got a bunch.
How many songs with Rob Thomas does Charles Barkley
none.
have?
That'd be 0.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, here they are. Yeah, like, I mean.
How many Santana got?
I mean, it looks like a ton.
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's got more than Barkley.
I did not know we did so many statues.
He's got one in Switzerland. He's got one in Mexico.
Okay.
He's got one at the Mandalay Bay in Vegas.
I think 3 is the guitarist, and then there's apparently a Indian sutra or some kind of Buddhist something that is Santana.
Oh, okay. So it's 3-3.
Yeah.
I'm still going Barkley.
I mean, I'll lean Barkley.
Friend of the show. Edge.
Friend of the show. We've never had Santana on. That would be my counter to all your Santana arguments.
Yeah. He does have one 13-foot one called Wings of Legend in Switzerland.
Wow. I didn't know Santana was that big.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. That's our 4 Downs today, brought to you by our friends at Central Alabama Asphalt. Also, our friends at Hemp Hill Services, LT.
205-229-2090. If you experience any, plumbing issues, the AC goes out this time of year. Never ideal, but it's great to know that you've got the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for any and all these issues. Right there behind you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Dump trucks, delivery vans, tankers, 18-wheelers, 35 types of commercial vehicles share the road with you every day. When one hits you, trust me, the company's lawyers are already moving. You should be too. Over $2 billion recovered. Alexander Shunnarah trial attorneys are ready to fight for you. Call 659-777-7777 or visit alexwins.law for your free case evaluation. Don't wait. Alexander Shunnarah trial attorneys. 659-777-7777. alexwins.law. Physical offices, Birmingham.
Sterling and the fine folks at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster want to welcome you in for a great lunch or dinner starting at 11 a.m. every day. Chicken that's brined overnight and cooked to order, and the taste of the Delta with those Delta recipe tamales. Champy's is perfect for all your tailgating needs this football season. You can also choose Champy's for your next party, wedding, or birthday. Great food, great people. Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster, and everything online at champyschicken.com.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Next Round shirts, Next Round hoodies, and Next Round hats are all in one place. NextRound.store. Find your favorite piece of gear from your favorite show and put it in your rotation. You never know. You might be in one of our videos showing Next Round gear being worn all over the world. Find all your favorite Next Round gear by visiting NextRound.store. Place an order for you and that big Next Round fan in your life at NextRound.store. Look your best at work, at school, at the stadium, or anywhere you go wearing Next Round gear from NextRound.store.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show now brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling and get ready for football tailgating. We're only 41 days away from tailgating again, so you'll need that to go to your high school games or just to, maybe watch the kids practice, or when you're going back to school and you don't want to cook at night, go by and see Sterling on Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's a destination lunch location. Some of you are getting a beach trip in before school starts back, and if you're stuck in traffic or just no traffic, just want to get off and have a great meal, lunch or dinner 7 days a week, Champy's Chicken, the Alabaster exit, Highway 119. Wonderful folks there. We're about to talk more SEC football coming up here in this final hour of the show today. If you've missed it, Greg Sankey gave sort of the state of the conference, as he always does to start things off. Just always a lot, as you would think, about the court case, not the court case, the Senate bill that's going through, where they say they've got 60 votes now in the Senate, but they want the SEC and the Big Ten to sign off on it. They're not going to sign off on anything that pulls media rights. So that's got to be pulled out of it. I don't know if the Senate has pulled that out of it. There's been a lot of talk about the playoffs. You've heard him, Brownie, today discussing strength of schedule. They can't sign off on a bigger playoff until you guys tell us we're going to judge strength of schedule the way that we feel comfortable with it. That's a big sticking point. We've talked throughout the whole show about easy schedules. I named the 10 easiest schedules according to CBS. How many SEC teams did I mention?
One.
None. Zero.
Oh, yeah, it was Penn State at 10.
Yeah, Penn State a Big Ten, one Big Ten, and everything else is the ACC and the Big 12. There's got to be some factor in there on strength of schedule, weighted to a point that the Big Ten, but especially the SEC, find interesting and comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say I think we're going to get there. I don't know if we are or not. I mean, at some point, it seems like all this stuff eventually gets worked out, and we end up getting what everybody has always said we're going to get. I don't know. A lot of people, Lance, feel like that Greg Sankey got fleeced into this 9-game schedule by this promise that it was going to be a bigger playoff if you'll play 9 games.
I still think, and Oklahoma was one of these teams when we're talking about schedules, there are teams this year in the SEC, you're talking about how many 10-2s can make it. I really believe there's some teams that could go 9-3 with their schedules this year and get in.
I think Oklahoma's one of those.
And I think the SEC will be where most of those would come from because of the strength of schedule. To what Brownie is talking about, every SEC coach will get this question at SEC Media Days this week. And already today, we've seen Eli get it, and now Brent Venables getting it about being asked 9-team SEC schedule compared to where we are in the college football playoff. Here is Brent Venables.
Just curious your experiences with the playoff scenario as it unfolds now, and has it affected your feelings towards the 9-game conference schedule?
Listen, I like a challenge. We've got tremendous challenge this league, top to bottom. We know that. I don't need to stand out in front and be a solvent for the league. It speaks for itself. We're a great example of, look, man, just focus and control what you can control. Last year we needed to, I think going into November, I think the ESPN statistic, we know it's not really right, but at the end of the day, I think there was a less than 2% chance that Oklahoma was going to go 4-0, Tennessee, at Alabama, and then with Missouri and LSU to finish things up. But if we went 4-0 on the same graphic, it said we had a 98.9% chance of going to the playoffs. So, you can't get to 4 until you get to 1, and I love the challenge of, you're back against the wall, and this is a game of doing, it's a game of performance, it's a game of, earning your way, and certainly our guys did. That was our experience a year ago, and so I'm all for that. I don't think that whether you expand it, you keep it where it is, it's still going to be awesome. People are they're gonna buy the tickets. The passion, the enthusiasm for the game of football has never been greater, and it won't be diminished whatsoever, no matter what happens with the playoff system.
But if they go 4-0 to start, they will be a top 5 team.
That's a dream.
Before Red River.
Yes, I mean, but that's a road win at Michigan and a road win at Georgia, Lance. If they're 4-0.
But he was
far more likely they're 2-2.
He was talking that 4-0 run at the end of last year just to make the playoffs, and that gets one game tougher now with the 9-game SEC schedule. It's interesting that he's a guy that's like, if it's 12, if it's 24, it's not going to matter. But it does feel like we're going to expand this thing, and Oklahoma is one of those teams, like Brownie says, maybe the biggest gap. If it's not Oklahoma, Brownie, the question you asked kind of earlier, the bigger swing gap that they could be 6-6, they could be 11-1. If it's not Oklahoma, who's that team?
Maybe Ole Miss.
I was going to say, could it be Alabama?
Oh, it could be. Let me.
Could it be real quick as you do that? Could it be A&M?
It may be a lot of SEC teams.
Well, I mean, think about A&M. Okay. They've got Missouri State, Arizona State, Kentucky all at home. Should be winnable games.
There's 3.
Then they got to go to LSU. Arkansas at home win. At Missouri, very difficult game. Citadel at home. Then at Bama, at South Carolina, host Tennessee, at Oklahoma, host Texas.
I mean, there's 5 I feel really good about. So I would say basement for Texas A&M is 6-6. Is that the absolute basement for A&M?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're 6-6 to 11-1, that is a gap.
That is a big gap. That's what I was going to say. I'm trying to set the basement.
They could easily lose 6 games.
And I think you can almost get there with Alabama, 7-5 to 11-1, 12-0.
Probably. I don't know, man. 5 losses, Bama. Then my opinion of Kalen DeBoer, depending on circumstances, probably swings a little bit. I don't know how.
I would imagine
you lose 5 games with that schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, it would take a loss to Auburn at the end.
That would be a terrible loss, at least right now on paper. Now, Auburn might be the surprise team of the college football season.
You say a loss to Auburn at the end.
It would take that 4-game stretch in the middle there of you going 0-4.
Lance, just off the top of your head right now, if you had to guess, Alabama a bigger favorite at home against Auburn or at Vanderbilt?
They are a bigger favorite at home against Auburn.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, point spread-wise, Dunaway, that game at Vanderbilt's a tougher game.
That will not be the case by the time we get to November 14th or November 28th. They'll be a bigger favorite on the road at Vandy than they will be at home to Auburn.
So you think Vandy takes the old backward step?
Yes.
And
I wouldn't even call it a step.
I mean, by then,
we fall backwards.
We will know. Let's just say that Alabama was opening up in Nashville. I think Alabama's probably 8.5 point favorite. So, we get to that point, they could be a 13-point favorite.
Yeah. And Auburn could be better, and by the time we get to that point,
Yeah, we'll obviously by November we'll know a lot about these teams, but I would be, again, if Alabama, to me, like the basement, I know a lot of people are going to disagree, is 8-4, and that is a complete fallout.
For Alabama.
Yeah, for Alabama. And then I think the ceiling is probably 10-2. I think they're probably 9-3, 10-2.
I see the graphic here. Oklahoma has 75% of their offensive production back, and their defense is supposed to be really good. That's why everybody's high on Oklahoma as SEC Media Days continue. Before we do the spotlight, let me tell you about our friends at Warde Wellness, your journey to healthy living. I just enjoyed a great protein bar for a mid-morning snack there. Injection therapy, they've got them. Meal replacement, these protein bars that I eat, they have all of that and more at Warde Wellness. Aplanforme.com. Planforme.com is the website. Find out their entire menu, different ways that they can help you drop that weight loss. Planforme.com. There's no contracts, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free. It's Warde Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
The College Football Spotlight
is presented by our guy, Alexander Shunnarah, trial attorney, Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com. He's recovered more than $2 billion for his clients over the years. That's $2 billion. And it all started because he was born and raised in Birmingham and went to school at UAB, spent time in this community, and decided, I want to build a firm that helps my community. Well, that was the start of it. Now it's grown into something even much larger than that. When you find yourself in need of any sort of legal assistance, Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com. You don't pay a dime unless they win your case with Alexander Shunnarah, trial attorneys, Shunnarah.com.
All right, our spotlight today is first the SEC offenses. Just coming in to this year, who are the best 3 offenses in the league on paper as we get ready, as they all gather in Tampa at SEC Media Days?
Texas has got to be number 1.
More than LSU.
Yes.
In terms of yardage, your top 3 last year, just to refresh everyone's memory, Ole Miss. Not a surprise, right?
Nope.
The next 2 might be Tennessee. I don't know that I viewed them as...
I'd like to see number of plays run.
I've got that.
Yeah.
Ole Miss ran more than Tennessee. Is that what you were...
Well, I would think Tennessee is in the top 3 of plays run in the
Southeastern Conference. Yeah. They were actually 5th, believe it or not. Alabama ran more than Tennessee. I think that would surprise you, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
As far as yards per game, though, it was Ole Miss, Tennessee, and
Alabama.
Vanderbilt.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not. That doesn't surprise me, really.
Wow, that surprises me.
Yeah. I would say Texas, and then, I don't know. I really don't.
In my head, I'm going to take the pace and what they did at Ole Miss and put LSU there. And
but by the way,
LSU 1 or 2 for me.
Jim, they were dead last in terms of yards per game last year. Do you know what a
16-1?
Yeah, to go from 16 to 1 or 2, what a recovery that would be for. That would do. Charlie Weiss and Lane Kiffin would be.
Where was Auburn?
Auburn was 10th. This is all in yards per game now. I'm just going yardage.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you look at what Golish did in 3 years there, they were 488 yards per game last year, which was top 5. They were over 40 points per game, which was top 5. So, I think there's going to be a huge jump for the Auburn Tigers, too. Whether that equates to wins or not, we shall see. But I'm just talking about offensive production.
Yeah, to your point that the early Josh Heupel, the one that beat Alabama in 2022, that was Alex Golish at offense. So that's sort of his style, his pace, his offensive production. That's a great point.
I will be surprised if Texas does not lead basically in the majority of the big categories offensively.
And then I got to keep on.
They were ninth. I'm sorry, Jim.
Yeah.
They were ninth last year.
That's
Texas
not surprising
was.
when you look at September.
Yeah,
they really struggled.
That's true. Starting with that Ohio State game.
And I got to keep Ole Miss in the top 3 as well.
Again, 489 a game last year. Ran more plays than anybody in the conference. Now they did play 15 games, so that helps.
But, not only Trinidad coming back, Kejuan Lacey though. That's
right.
That's big.
Yeah, and just them being used to that pace, I would assume they'd try to continue to do the same thing, even though they don't have Lane and they don't have Charlie Weiss Jr. To call the plays there. So who's had the best off season? However you want to describe that. And I'm going to ask you to grab your dry erase boards here as we tell you about our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. So Michelson Laser Vision is going to continue our spotlight here.
Yeah, 205-969-8100, the call I made back in 2003. Yeah, make that phone call if you've been procrastinating, thinking about LASIK. Find out if it's right for you. Make sure you ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have nothing to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Dr. Mort Michelson, the first to perform the LASIK procedure in the state of Alabama way back in 1995. Dr. Jen Michelson, they are the best. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, so the question is, who's had the best off season as we've gone from the end of last year to now SEC Media Days?
College football or SEC?
In the SEC only.
Oh, okay.
All right. And
well, how many are we doing?
5. Rank them 1 to 5. And who's had the best off season? 1 to 5. And then I want you to explain your vote there. And gets interesting on some down at the bottom.
Mine's going to have a bit of a theme to it.
Yeah, I think mine is too, a little bit.
All new coaches?
Well, I mean, I think that helps.
Yeah, I think that is a big deal.
Not across the board, because Arkansas is not going to be on mine. We kill Silverfield.
I've got 3 new coaches, relatively speaking.
I got mine.
No, excuse me, 4 new coaches, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we may have the same.
I think we're going to have the same ones.
Okay, start me off, LT.
I'm going to go Texas best off season. You get Raleek Brown, you get Hollywood Smothers, you get Cam Coleman, all those guys out of the portal. It was the best portal class. So Texas number 1, number 2 for me. LSU right behind them on the portal gets. From Jordan Seaton to Sam Levitt. Oklahoma, based on the fact that they kept a lot of their production, a lot of guys didn't transfer out. And I do think having Mateer coming back for year 2, healthy, with Ben Arbuckle is going to be a big deal. Kentucky, just the coaching change, the philosophy, went from no offense to whether or not they lose 9 or 10 games this year, it's still going to be more of a fun style. And then the Auburn Tigers with, the amount of South Florida guys coming over, the experience with a 5th-year guy and Byron Brown and the pace of that offense.
Yeah, that's an interesting list. 1, 2 that I don't have on my list. Go ahead.
I got LSU number 1. I just think the whole Lane Kiffin, everything, and it's primarily been positive. I mean, Lane has said some crazy things. Texas number 2 for a lot of what Lane said. I still go Florida number 3. I think John Summerall, the hire of John Summerall, has been very well received, for a lot of the same reasons we like Summerall, because of, the way he answers questions. A lot of people, that's what they've seen of him. And then I think Alex Golesh just said all the right things. He's yet to coach a game for Auburn, but he said all the right things. And there's more excitement about Kentucky football than I can remember in a very long time.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Ole Miss didn't make either one of yours, so I leave them in there. So LSU 1 for me. Florida 2. I agree with you on everything you said about John Summerall. It just seems to be a fit at Florida. And we'll see. It's talking season. We haven't gotten to the games yet. Ole Miss 3. I mean, I think they are still on a national conversation right now. Now, when the season starts, they may fall off, but so far it's been a good offseason. Keeping Trinidad, keeping Kejuan Lacey, still being a team projected to be a playoff contender. Can't disagree about Auburn, and then Texas there.
Texas blows me away at 5.
Yeah.
Like that transfer portal just too freaking good.
Well, I mean, I just feel like every offseason is good with Texas, it's just hasn't been different. It's always going to be Texas.
Yeah, but for Sark and his offensive mind to have those chess pieces that he pulled in.
Yeah.
I mean, because,
I can't disagree with you having him at 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's one thing to get Raleek Brown, but then when you get Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers, now to complement Ryan Wingo, you bring in Cam Coleman. I mean, just the skill there is crazy.
Yeah, we all have Auburn. We all have Texas. We all have LSU, and then a this diversity there.
And none of us have Alabama.
It has not been a good offseason.
I don't know what you would say has made it a good. This has nothing to do with what they're going to do this season, but I don't know what has happened this offseason that you would say.
I mean, the only thing, the continuity coaching staff,
it
whether you like
bad.
that or not.
I'm not going to say it's been bad.
And the retention of the players. Nobody's talking about that. But as far as street cred as we get to SEC Media Days, it's been a while since Alabama's been this low, and it means nothing when it comes to wins and losses. Just like, Ole Miss is on my list, and that's the offseason. It's been a good offseason for Ole Miss. Could very quickly go downhill once they start playing football.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody that has Ole Miss, and Ole Miss was one of those rosters, again, I've mentioned Jordan Rodgers 3 times today, but I did think it was funny that they had one of the 5 rosters right now, but I guarantee you if a gun was to Jordan Rodgers' head and said, hey, better record this year, Alabama or Ole Miss. Like, if you had a gun to your head right now, who are you taking better record?
Alabama.
I would take Alabama.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't even have to think on it.
Yeah, I mean, again, Pete Golding is everybody's darling, and we like Pete on this show. I think all three of us like Pete.
My favorite coach in college football right now.
Yeah, I mean, I like Pete. I hope Pete does well at Ole Miss, but I got my doubts. I'm going to need to see it for a full season, not just a playoff.
You have no idea what you're getting.
Yeah.
One more thing to get to college football-wise in this segment, and it sort of involves the SEC, but it's all college football, being brought to you by our friends at Odie's, where Odie's Fest is coming up
Saturday.
Is it this Saturday?
Yep.
Already?
Coming up this Saturday, if you're looking for, something fun to do. I think that's right. Yeah. Wait.
It's the 25th, right?
I think that's
this Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
That's this Saturday.
This Saturday, last Saturday of July. You can get tickets right now, odiesfest.com. You can stop into one of the two locations, get you a little discount when you pre-buy them right there, either at the Crestline, the original location, the one in Edgewood on Broadway. Get in and see Will Haver and that great staff. Incredible food from Rodney Davis for 4 decades now. The ice-cold beer buckets, inside or outside on that patio. Great place to watch Major League Baseball. Birmingham Institution is Odie's Tavern.
Conor O'Gara could not see my sheet, but on my sheet, I've had this for a couple of weeks now. I've never got to it. But who would be the team of the decade when this decade is done? And that's 2020 through 2029 is the way I see this decade. And to recap your national champions, it was Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana. Earlier in the show, hour 2, Conor O'Gara from SEC Media Days says he thinks Georgia gets another one in this decade and will be remembered as the team of the decade.
Well,
do you agree with him?
Yeah, 1,000%. Like, you take 2020 out and you really can't, but it was an abbreviated season. So, Big Ten played different number of games. It was just all over the place. But outside of that, from 21 through 25, the last 5 years, he's averaged 13 wins per year. He's won 4 of 5 SEC championships and 2 national championships. There's not even anybody even close to this in the SEC.
What if? Oh, not in the SEC. I'm talking about in college football.
Yeah,
who's going to be the team of the decade?
I mean, Ohio State would have a shot
if they win one more. I mean, let's give Ohio State one more. Let's give Indiana one more.
I was going to say Indiana.
Yeah. Indiana, just because of the nature of the story.
But it also would be near the end of the decade.
But I do feel better about Georgia. I don't know why. Like, I think Georgia will end up the team of the decade.
Yeah.
So you think, I'll do a 4 downs question for you. Better chance of winning a championship again this decade, Indiana or Georgia?
Georgia.
I would agree. Georgia.
Both of you.
But I think it's really, really close. Again, I think Cignetti is a better coach in this era than Kirby is. Can't really deny it based on outcome. But with that said, it's still Georgia and it's still Indiana.
Previous decade, obviously, was Alabama. They were 4-time national champion in that decade.
And that wasn't an easy decade because of how good Clemson was.
That's right. Bad for Clemson that they end up being not a team of the decade because they happened to go up against Alabama in the same decade. There 4 national championships and some national championship game losses. Decade before that, Saban hadn't gotten it going. They win the last one. Before that, you can make a case for Florida had a couple, LSU had a couple, so it was all over the place. But sort of all over the place right now. Indiana one more, Ohio State one more. I don't see it in Michigan's future. Georgia one more. What if Alabama got one? Or dare I say 2? But what if they got one more?
If they were to get 2, then I think you can make the argument because you go back to 2020 as dominant as that team was, and then 21. I mean, a good chance they should have won a national championship there.
You win it in 20. You lose in the championship game in 21. In 23, you're a semifinalist
against the eventual champion, and it came down to one play.
In 25, you lose to the eventual champion in the quarterfinals.
Not close, though.
Yeah. But if you win one more, all of a sudden you can make a case that Alabama could be that team. Yeah. We'll talk a little NFL football and get the trash coming up on the other side. Urology Centers of Alabama brings you the show. 70 years compassionate care here in Central Alabama, 10 great locations. Everything from prostate health to kidney stones and everything in between. 205-930-0920, Urology Centers, Alabama.com, the website. Prostate health, the kidney stones, but also they've got hormone treatments for men and women. They got a men's health center where they can take care of testosterone, ED, and so many other things. It's all right there on their website, urologycentersalabama.com. urologycentersalabama.com. 205-930-0920. Go check them out online. 70 years of compassionate cares with our friends at UCA, urologycentersalabama.com.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
When a motorcycle accident turns your world upside down, who's going to look out for your family while you're healing? Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys is here for you, fighting for injured riders and getting families the compensation they deserve. The consultation is free. They don't get paid until you do. Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. Call 659-777-7777 or visit alexwins.law. Don't wait. Call 659-777-7777. alexwins.law. Physical office, Birmingham.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Never miss anything from the Next Round when you listen on demand through the podcast platform of your choice. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or Google Podcasts. Wherever you listen, always like, follow, subscribe, and turn on automatic downloads so you catch every part of the Next Round. Listen anywhere in the world at any time on the Next Round podcast feed and support the show by following, subscribing, and turning on automatic downloads on any podcast platform. Thanks for always making the Next Round a big part of your day.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Trash in just a second. We're about to talk about the NFL as well, but in looking at with SEC Media Days going on, looking at some of the schedules, I found an ACC team that has a tremendously tough out-of-conference schedule. Georgia Tech plays obviously Georgia. They play Colorado. They also play Tennessee.
That is a heck of an out-of-conference.
That's a pretty tough out-of-conference schedule.
Well, you forget about them. They almost don't get credit for Georgia because it's an annual game. Like, you almost don't give them credit for that, though they deserve full credit for it. That is a heck of an out-of-conference schedule, honestly.
But the good news is, in my opinion, they missed the top 4 teams in the ACC.
Okay,
So this is a good year to have it.
You miss Miami.
Okay.
You miss SMU. You miss NC State. You miss Virginia.
Okay. Well, you're riding that Virginia horse, aren't you?
I mean, they won 11 games last year.
Yeah.
And trust me, he was a good quarterback, and Chandler Morris, he wasn't that good.
So you don't think Bo Pribula,
there will not be much of a drop off at all.
Much of a drop off. Okay. Interesting. That just seemed like a tough schedule to me, especially out of conference there.
No, they had 100%. But I'm saying, like, if you would have thrown on top of that out of conference, and you've got Miami and SMU on that schedule, then that becomes, on paper, one of the more top 15 schedules in college football.
Fighting for bowl eligibility at that point. By the way, Pete Narduzzi. Nope. Pat Narduzzi said last week that Miami tried to lure his quarterback, Mason Heichel, into the portal. No surprise there, I guess, that teams were trying to lure people into the portal. We've heard of that.
Yeah, but this is not the first time Narduzzi's done this. Who was this receiver from Pitt that went to USC?
Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
But it was true. It was like,
100%.
He did lure it.
We won. He won the Biletnikoff with us, and now we cannot match their money. I mean, it's the rules are the rules.
Yeah, I'm just saying Narduzzi does not mind going public with this.
No, but I do
learned.
think that Mario Cristobal and Miami have become public enemy number 1 in that league. And it's just interesting that Clemson, I didn't get I got to hear Dabo's woe is me on Friday when I wasn't in. I saw it in the hotel room. You guys, we're going.
We're dead and married, yep.
My
we
God.
played it on the show.
God, he's such a freaking whiny hillbilly.
If you go back in the last 10 years, he's won 2 national championships, been a national runner-up, 7 ACC championships. No, the last 3 years, 2 of them have sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so more. That's what Brown's point was.
No, I mean, I get it, but like nobody cares if Dabo's crying. And I do think Mario Cristobal and Miami have become that hated team in the ACC.
One more thing before we get to trash, brought to you by our friends at Johnston RV Center, johnstonrvcenter.com.
I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator is where you find Johnston RV Center. You can always find them online, johnstonrvcenter.com. That's where you learn more about all their inventory, including the fifth wheels that they've got, the bigger RVs, maybe the smaller RVs. They got one in every price range. They got one in all the sizes right there at Johnston RV Center. So there's something for everyone there. I'll tell you what else is there. Lifetime warranty from RV Warranty Forever. Lifetime on anything new or qualifying pre-owned at Johnston RV Center. That is peace of mind, and you can take it with you anywhere you go with RV Warranty Forever. See more about that at johnstonrvcenter.com. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator, johnstonrvcenter.com.
Before we talk NFL quarterbacks, Forrester, I don't know if you saw it at that Fanatics Festival, Cam Skattebo, who, he broke a fibula last year, right? Biggest bone in your body, right?
Yeah, this guy is wild.
Yeah, nope. That's the femur, right?
That's the femur.
Femur's the biggest,
which old Uncle Jesse.
That's what Uncle Jesse
got flipped by the bison.
Right.
Where's the fibula? Is it in your leg?
Fibula is in the shin.
Yeah, the shin. It is
pretty important to a running back, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You got the fibula and the tibia.
Thing you want is, for your superstar running back at a Fanatics Festival in New York to come out on a stage and do a backflip and not stick the landing. Now, he says he's okay. Got back up, showed off the leg and everything. Skattebo's okay, but do you think the fall was intentional?
Oh,
no.
If you're his agent, you're pouring a stiff drink right now.
If I'm a Giants fan, I'm pouring a stiff drink.
I wonder if he poured one before he did it.
This is what you get with Skattebo. I mean, look, this is just his personality. I think it shows you, though, he's healthy. He said it wasn't a big deal. But, yeah, if you're a Giants fan, you got to be sweating because, your best player is not going to be available early on in Malik Neighbors. But you think about, man, what they've got defensively, their ability to close with guys like Thibodeau and Burns and Abdul Carter on that defensive line. And then when you look at the skill with Skattebo Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors. That is with a credible coach in John Harbaugh.
I was about to say, how do you feel about their head coach?
Yeah,
now?
I mean, that's one of those. If everybody was healthy, it wouldn't blow me away if the Giants were able to win the East.
That Scatterboo fall, though, that Scott was showing there, it looks like one of those that if a guy is perfectly healthy, no injuries ever, he blows his knee out doing it.
Exactly.
Now,
the average Joe.
Yeah, now bring a guy in that just had surgery on that leg.
Crazy. Top 10 quarterbacks in 2026 voted on by NFL executives, coaches, and scouts. ESPN did the poll.
Okay.
Number 1 quarterback is
Josh Allen.
Yeah, it's got to be Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Number 2 quarterback.
It should be. It's not going to be. But it probably, based on last year, should be my man, Matthew
I was going to
Stafford.
say if they get this right and don't go Mahomes, they'll go Stafford.
Yeah, it's Mahomes and then Stafford.
So Mahomes is second. I would go
Mahomes
Stafford
is second. So Allen, Mahomes, and Stafford.
Then
and really, you could juggle those 3 around, whatever the criteria you're looking at, and not be wrong with those 3.
Yeah, and then Burrow is probably going to be next.
Joe Burrow is number 4 with the Bengals.
I would probably.
But our buddy Chase Daniel, who I saw doing a video on this, which brought it to my attention, pointed out that when does he finish the season?
Who, Burrow?
Yeah.
Almost never.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you can't count on him.
Technically, he finished it last year, but he missed a large portion of it. But
That's
I know what Chase is saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like he is a better quarter. Well,
say it. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say what you were going to say.
I was going to say he's probably a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford, but you can't rely on him.
Lamar Jackson, 5.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, he's definitely dropping off, though, and I don't know if we're ever going to see vintage Lamar again.
Back half of the 10 is where it gets interesting.
I would think this is in the neighborhood of Dak Prescott,
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff.
Dak is 6, Herbert is 7, Goff is 9, Caleb Williams is 10. Tell me who's number 8.
Number 8 on this is going to be. It can't be Trevor Lawrence.
It is not.
It's not Jordan Love.
It is not. It's not Bo Nix either.
I mean, if we're just, I mean, last year was a disaster because of the injury, but Jaden Daniels should be on this list.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
Jalen Hurts?
Not Jalen Hurts.
Of course not.
It's Drake May.
Oh, that's way too quick.
Well, we're going to
number 8.
We're going to learn a lot. So in year 2, he gets to a Super Bowl and didn't have weapons. I mean, Stephon Diggs was good, but now you go out, you get Romeo Doubs, and you get A.J. Brown. So there will not be the excuse this year for Drake May, but I think most of us assume from 14-3 in a Super Bowl that they'll take a couple of steps back.
Yeah.
He did complete 72% of his passes last year in the NFL, which is,
that is
I don't
absurd,
care what kind of throws you're making.
Yeah, that's absurd.
A little NFL conversation. My buddy Brian used to work here in Birmingham, works in Tampa for a long, long time, says, I wish you guys were down here. It makes me homesick. Well, after seeing the setup there in Tampa, it almost looks like it's the old Galleria days.
That's right. It gave me some Winfrey vibes, as Scott said in the chat last night.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. We're heading to Trash Now. Show being brought to you in part by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Champy'sChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go have Sterling's lunch. He's brined that chicken overnight for you. It's juicy to the bone. The hand-cut chicken fingers, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, this is a great way to get started. And I haven't even won all my games yet. It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family, and we are so excited to be in the great state of Louisiana, but more importantly, to be with you great fans, and to be part of what is going to be an incredible ride here at Louisiana State University.
LT's Trash is presented by Bud Light.
Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We start first.
Do you think that was a dare that they were drinking up in the booth and some old Louisiana booster was like, hey, when you go out there and grab the microphone, I dare you to do a a Southern accent.
Family.
Yeah, you got to, Coach. You're saying it wrong. You got to say family.
Family.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to say
That
Louisiana
feels more
State
of a
University.
spur of the moment decision. It's like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
Just like as he's walking to the microphone.
Was that a basketball game, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
In a video shared online, a team of YouTubers tried to avoid paying for tickets to see The Odyssey by sneaking into the cinema in a Trojan horse.
Oh.
Now, The Odyssey, the new film by Christopher Nolan, released at theaters worldwide this past weekend. Among those wishing to see the film were YouTube group Full Squad. Now, the group shared a video in which they where they tried to infiltrate an AMC cinema showing off the film using their own do-it-yourself Trojan horse. Video opens with the revelation that they only had one ticket. Two of them get inside of the Trojan horse while one of them pulls them along on the way to the cinema. They parade the horse around, sneakily showing its secret to members of the public. When they arrive at the AMC, their ticket is scanned and they manage to make it through two different sets of employees. Believing they succeeded, they make their way towards the screen celebrating. However, when turning a corner, the Trojan horse topples over and they are rumbled. Security guard arrives, tell them you guys can't bring this in, unfortunately. I mean, I don't think it's a high bar getting by 17-year-olds that are checking your tickets.
No, but you shouldn't be able to.
Depends on which theater you go to. You go to the one in Vestavia, and lady checking tickets there runs a tight ship.
Well, you know what she doesn't run? A tight ship on cleaning their shit up.
Oh, no, I agree
Yeah,
with
because
that.
there's sodas everywhere and napkins are missing. and-
Oh, well, he starts running.
Yeah, that's dumb. Yeah, that's how the wreck happened.
Took that corner too soon.
Now we're caught.
Yeah, I've seen this happen several times with the Boomer Schooner.
That's right.
It's the same thing. Started going too fast.
You might could sneak in a box of M&Ms. You're probably not going to sneak in a Trojan horse.
Well, it shouldn't have gotten that far. I mean,
I agree.
anything could have been in there. It could have been gunmen, bombs.
You know, Scott was first to point out on a group text, though, on how the USC Trojans decided to say our Odyssey begins on... There it is.
Yeah, what's your problem there? What's your problem?
The problem is if you go back and you check out the history of the Trojans in this war, it was not good.
Yeah.
Mass casualties.
The Odyssey is about what?
The Odyssey is about Odysseus returning home
After
after killing all the Trojans
There
in the
you
Trojan
go.
War.
Yeah, and I pointed out this would be a
To the
2-10
ground.
season for Lincoln Riley, and
That's right.
he's fired.
That's right. Yeah.
So wait, you're telling me that the Trojans were not good at defending their land, their defense there, and Lincoln Riley's never been good at defense.
Gary Patterson, though, this is his. Give me a character in the Odyssey. Gary Patterson,
Achilles.
older, coming back.
I don't know. I'm just naming.
Odysseus. That's the only one I know.
Yeah.
A man has been arrested for surfing naked on top of a moving train, and the sheriff's office responsible for his arrest are seeing the funny side. Now, Union Pacific Railroad alerted the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office to a man who had managed to get onto one of their locomotives and was acting strangely. Daniel Balance from Arizona has broken the window of the Union Pacific Railroad locomotive, entered it. Authorities worked with the railroad company to intercept the train and detain the man. Balance allegedly stripped his clothes and was completely naked when he climbed onto the roof of the Union Pacific locomotive, quote, surfing on top of the train as it rolled down the tracks. Now, police arrested Balance on felony and misdemeanor charges. The county sheriff's office made a post on Facebook detailing the incident, poking a little fun at his crazy behavior. Quote, to some, he blew the horn. To others, he showed a little too much. Unfortunately, we had to separate him from those loves and the train ride. Instead, Daniel is spending some time at an all-expenses-paid jail where he is presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Okay, give me, I don't care. The I don't care look. Now give me the pouty, sad face.
It's quite a mugshot.
Yeah. So you're basically telling me he was on top showing his caboose?
Now, I know there are certain women that only wash their hair a couple of times a week, but this man has gone a month plus.
I would say so. Probably not even the dry shampoo either. That's a big thing now. I don't know if you guys deal with that at your house, the old dry shampoo.
Yeah.
Spray that stuff in.
For a while.
Man, I'll tell you, in New Orleans, hot as hell, but that smell of garbage down there,
awful.
Just getting that waft.
Ugh.
And then I can't look, it's not good to be homeless anywhere, but some of the homeless ability to sleep on straight concrete in 100 degrees is amazing.
It really is.
Your point being, if you were going to be homeless, you would
I'd go to a different city.
Better
you
temperatures.
would spend a few donations to. But see, if you go up north where it's cooler in the summer, then it's.
But you got to make your way back.
You got to migrate like the
You gotta
ducks.
go out to California. They seem real
Very
nice
temperate.
to the homeless.
Yeah, and the temperatures are better.
Yeah, you're right.
The temperature's better,
Yep.
and lots of free stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I hate is the poor dog that draws the short straw.
Oh,
and like
yeah.
they've got the dog out there on the road, and it's like we'll take scraps. The dog will eat first, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, how did the dog draw the short straw? Like, I hate your situation, but how in the hell did the dog get pulled into it?
And a part of me every time I see it thinks, well, what if I just adopt the dog? Like, give the homeless guy way more than what that dog is worth. But then you think like, well, that's his companion.
Yeah. And I got to buy a World Cup ticket.
And and I got to buy World Cup tickets.
We trade for a Supreme hoodie.
Yeah.
Maryland woman says she was left facing a staggering $228,000 water bill after inheriting her late father's income, claiming the debt actually belongs to her entire neighborhood. Now, this is Christina Moore. Says she discovered the issue in April after finding a notice posted on the front door of her childhood home, warning that the property's water service could be disconnected unless the outstanding balance was paid within 45 days. Now, according to the New York Post, Moore inherited the home after her father's death, only to learn the property's address is tied to the only water meter serving all 37 homes in the Springwood Estates Homeowners Association. Now, although each homeowner calculates their individual water shortage and usage and pays that amount to the homeowners association, the HOA is responsible using those payments to cover bills issued by the Baltimore City Department of Public Works. Moore said she initially believed the debt wouldn't be her responsibility and contacted the HOA for answers. She said she also contacted the Baltimore City Department of Public Works, but was told the property tied to the meter remained responsible for the balance.
I don't get that. So there's one water meter, and the HOA or somebody's responsible for saying you use this much of the meter?
Yeah, it's tied to all 37 homes.
I mean, but who does that math? Who does the math? Who says, well, this is how much water I use?
Yeah.
Well, this is how much I use. I mean, it's crazy.
In my condominiums, we have an HOA, water's covered, and they pay the water bill. There's no dividing it up. It's unlimited.
So no matter how much you use?
No matter how much you use.
So you just bathe and bathe and bathe and bathe, and you're paying the same as the person next door that
let that thing
had a glass of water.
If I didn't care about the fact that it never rains in Africa, if I actually just didn't care about that and just I could let the shower warm up for 10 minutes.
It's hard to have a big water bill. Like I can go on and tell you mine's like $48.22 every month.
And you have a pool.
Yeah.
Is that not you don't ever have to fill your pool?
Well, sometimes our pool guy, Kelly, will say, hey, I need you to put some extra water in the pool, let it run for a couple of hours. But
that's do it, Kelly. You're the pool guy.
I mean, I don't understand why he doesn't do it, but I guess he doesn't want to run my water and like be responsible for leaving it on. So that's probably the reason. But that's probably once a month. I went and swam laps after the rain yesterday, and it was almost over the top of the pool. There was so much rain. Yeah.
Well, I had my driveway and sidewalks power washed, my walkways and my back and all power washed.
I've got to get that done. The pressure washer?
Yeah, pressure washer. So that'll show up on my next bill, which will probably going to bump it a little bit higher.
I would think so.
Yeah.
China has banned customizable AI companion apps, forcing millions of users into sudden digital breakups after tech giants pulled the features rather than meet strict new rules. Now, the regulations took effect July 15th, 2026, jointly issued by 5 government departments, including the Cyberspace Administration of China. Now, the rules state AI tools cannot, quote, excessively cater to users, induce emotional dependence or addiction, and damage users' real interpersonal relationships. Now, companies must now build in instant exit options, regular reminders the AI is not real, and limits on long-term emotional memory. Study and work tools are exempt. ByteDance, Alibaba, and Tencent choose to suspend their AI companion features entirely rather than comply, according to The Independent. Now, the crackdown is linked to China's failing marriage and birth rates, with regulators worried AI relationships are replacing real intimacy, though experts say deeper issues like economic pressure play a bigger role. I don't know if you guys saw this over the weekend. There is a suit now against AI from Alabama, a family of some girl, and I think it's fascinating because they talk about the dependency she had emotionally on the AI. And the AI, some of the responses were they should have known more about the mental health. I forgot exactly how the suit states it, but this is the first lawsuit I've seen against AI.
Yeah, no,
there's been a few because physicians are describing this new condition, which they call AI psychosis, which is just like you said, a dependence on the AI to a point where they're not really able to draw the line between this is an AI girlfriend that you talk to and real human connection. And when that line gets blurred because the AI is always trying to reinforce whatever your feelings are and validate them, people have told their AI girlfriend that they're feeling real low and want to, jump off a bridge or something.
That's right.
And then the AI says, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea."
Oh,
yeah. There's been some self-harm involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how this thing plays out, but would you be surprised if there is some kind of compensation?
I imagine there will be, but I don't know. These AI companies seem to be able to do whatever they want without any regard to laws.
I've seen now 3 different patches on the college football jerseys that are AI companies.
Well, how are these command centers that, are we going to run out of water one day? Isn't that a fear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's water bill is about to go up from the new data centers they're building here.
And that's going to kill that property value because aren't they doing it in Homewood?
Yeah, there's one in Homewood, one in Bessemer, and I believe a third one out more Shelby County area, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I know this is incorrect, but it felt like I saw in my head it was John Summerall, but I'm sure it wasn't him. But somebody like John Summerall saying they were building one in almost every county in the state of Florida. That can't be right.
That can't be true. I wouldn't be surprised.
But
there's a ton of money being dumped into it.
What is is it like a gallon water per minute? It's something crazy.
I forget what the exact amount is.
What do they need the water for? To keep it cool?
Yeah, you've got to keep it cool. And these companies say that they're close to replacing all the water that they use, but you see water costs going up for regular citizens in these areas where data centers are being built. You see power outages, increased cost of living, and all for not many jobs being created. So,
yeah, and I'm telling you, it's the end of civilization. We did without AI for a long time, fellas.
And I don't know what the end goal is, because if everything works according to plan, as the AI CEOs say, then none of us, or nobody will have a job. We'll be in that post-money Star Trek economy they keep describing, so nobody can buy your product. Or this AI bubble bursts, everybody, loses their investments, their homes, any money they've got tied into the market, and nobody can buy your product. So I don't know what the goal is.
That's a bit dark.
Like, you've either got slaves that can't afford to buy your product, or you're a second Great Depression.
What's the other? Give me a positive option.
There doesn't seem to be one. That's my point.
There's got to be a positive option in this.
If you can find one, let me know about it, because it
Elon
doesn't
Musk
sound like...
says, what his theory is, nobody has to work anymore.
Yeah, that's the post-money Star Trek
No,
economy
but
that
his theory is based on the government paying a minimum income.
Yeah, not interested in that.
Yeah.
I know how many lazy people there are out there. I'll just outwork these people. We don't want to all be on the same terms.
Well, there could be no jobs. That's going to be
the
his argument is everything becomes so cheap with AI that you don't need
you got to have bartenders, you got to have plumbers, you got to have roofers like our man Greg, plumbers like Hempill. AI can't do that. Can't do it.
I like the way you went bartender first, though.
Yeah,
gotta have a bartender.
You gotta have somebody with a personality, right? I'm sure there's a way you could get a robot to pour a drink.
I gotta be able to have a good drink, and I gotta have a roof on my house.
That's right,
dude.
In that order.
I don't understand the emotional tie to these AIs either.
Well, you're not mentally disturbed.
No, but at times,
in some ways.
But I know, either your date can give you a hand job, or she can't, and AI can't.
So AI cannot.
No, I don't think so.
Well, rats. Looking into buying one.
Off the list, Tyler. Off the list.
Rats.
You ruined Tyler's first Monday night without the World Cup.
Thought I was going to make my own Argentina girlfriend.
Just don't expect a happy ending, my friend.
Just put the keyboard over and keep hitting exclamation point star. See what happens. That is Trash, brought to you today by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Don't forget, still ongoing through the entire month of July, our feature sponsor of the month, that's our friends at Folds of Honor, Alabama. Folds of Honor, Alabama. You can use that QR code that's on your screen right now. If you're listening to us or would like to enjoy good cocktails, you can go out to a local walk-ons, both on Highway 280, Stadium Trace, and in Trussville, and enjoy a nice ice-cold Budweiser Bud Light for $2 bottles, $3 drafts. Proceeds from that drink goes to Folds of Honor, Alabama. You can also make the extra donation there, QR code. Walk-ons, Bud Light, Adams Beverage, and the fine folks at Folds of Honor, Alabama. Go and support them the entire month of July. Connor O'Gara and company standing by. We'll get to them coming up in about 150 seconds.
You expect Will and Connor to do that math? 150 seconds to know how much time they got till we go live?
A little more than 2 minutes.
Okay.
A little more than 2 minutes. Before we move in that direction, I'll ask you this question. Transfer Heisman Trophy winner this year or not? Heisman Trophy winner that was a transfer at some point or not? Last year, Fernando Mendoza, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the last one that wasn't a transfer?
You're going to have to remind me.
Was it Devontae?
Potentially.
So who won it in 21?
I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah.
But just look at the
But
contenders
this year. Darian Mensah.
Transfer.
Josh Hoover.
Transfer.
I'm not talking about just your favorites.
Arch is not a transfer.
Arch is not a transfer.
John Mateer, if they
transfer.
Yeah. Sam Levitt.
Transfer.
All right, you've got Mendoza.
Jeremiah Smith is not. Julian Sand technically is.
Yeah, you got Mendoza that was. Travis Hunter.
He was from Jackson State.
Yep.
It's Bryce.
Is Bryce the last non-transfer?
Bryce Young, who sometimes I forget won the Heisman.
And sometimes forget that he was at least verbally committed to USC.
Yeah, he was.
So if you were going...
I would go Mensah. If I had to go... Cam Coleman is very interesting, too. I don't think there's any way, because I think they feel the need, if Arch is deserving, because that family name never got the Heisman Trophy, I think he would get it. But Cam Coleman is interesting.
So if it's close, it's Arch Manning because of the Manning history.
I mean, it's crazy. Yep. Bryce and Devontae Smith. But, I mean, start going back through this. Mendoza, transfer. Travis Hunter, transfer. Jaden Daniels, transfer. Caleb Williams, transfer. Then you got Bryce and Devontae Smith. Joe Burrow, transfer. Kyler Murray, transfer. Baker Mayfield, transfer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more transfers than not.
Wow.
For Connor and the guys that are listening, that's Brown being surprised I asked a very intelligent question. And I had not noticed that list there before.
You didn't read that somewhere?
Yeah. Hey, tell us about Culver's, Brownie, before we turn it over to the guys.
Connor and Will are going to join us every single day at the end of the show. The OG Kickoff is going to be live every single day, 12 to 1. Connor O'Gara, Will Lockburn from down in Tampa. Our coverage presented by our friends at Culver's. Welcome to Delicious, two great Birmingham locations of Culver's. Highway 280 area in Tattersall Park, also Stadium Trace out there in Hoover. Wherever you are in America, head up to Culver's. Get that great butter burger, those crispy crinkle-cut fries, the ooey golden cheese curds, and those great frozen custards. Culver's, welcome to Delicious. Boys,
take it away.
Tampa, take it away.
Gentlemen, it is good to be here. It is the OG Kickoff. We are live in Tampa. We are like one half through the first SEC Media Days that we have ever had in the Sunshine State, as Greg Sankey told us. Will, good to be here. All of our Media Days coverage is on behalf of Culver's. And Will, you and I have talked about Culver's a lot as it relates to specifically Wisconsin athletics, which now has a Culver's patch on their jersey. So it's great to be part of the Culver's family and glad to be here doing this.
I feel prophetic, man. I feel like I'm part of the staff over there. I feel like an honorary Midwesterner once again. So shout out Culver's.
Look, I've said this before. I'll say it again. If we were good on vacations going up to Wisconsin as kids, we were getting Culver's. We were getting Butterburgers. We were getting Concretes. Many a travel baseball tournament as well. So like we are, I am right now in rarefied air to be talking to you guys on behalf of all things Culver's. We have had a very uneventful start to SEC Media Days. I'm going to call it like it is, but we did have the commissioner.
Yeah.
We had Greg Sankey join us, And Greg Sankey, you're never going to believe this, had a couple of things to discuss as it relates to the playoff, as it relates to SEC flexing. He did not do the thing where he said, we should have won a national championship, and I can't believe that didn't happen. He did not go argue on Ole Miss's behalf, but still Greg Sankey being Greg Sankey for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about how things change and how they stay the same, but ultimately there is a difference between, I feel like, the SEC and Greg Sankey. He didn't feel the need to come out and bring out any kind of wonky stats or talk about how really cradle of quarterbacks or anything today.
Now, we did have Greg Sankey say that the SEC has the largest average attendance of any league in America.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the world, actually 80,000 average attendance.
Yes. So second highest viewership behind the NFL, highest in-person attendance of any league in the world. I think that's just a cool stat, and it checks out.
It's his stat of the summer, according to Greg Sankey. My stat of the summer, there are 0 9-3 teams that have made it to the college football playoff as at large.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, will that change? Because Greg Sankey said we are not having the best of conversations. Unsatisfactory was what he called the conversations between the SEC and the College Football Playoff Selection Committee as it relates to the metrics and strength of schedule. He did not hand out a bunch of packets and pamphlets this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that is smart. Really good move by Greg Sankey. But he did mention that. And let's just say I went back up to my room for a very brief minute at lunchtime, and I get off at the elevator, and there's Greg Sankey sitting right there. So I go, the 9-3 thing is going to be real this year. He's like, yeah, those conversations didn't go well. That they just flat out didn't. I think that is a huge talking point of this season, which could be the last of the 12-team playoff, is that 9-3 teams, man, until we see it, I can't assume that it's going to happen. Would you bet the over on 0.5 9-3 teams making into the college football playoff this year?
I mean, I think we're eventually going to get one. And to your point, it's just about, which team has the strongest case. And we've seen a couple of SEC teams, as you talked about, Alabama, South Carolina a couple of years ago that had those cases and they ultimately didn't work out. And I think what was so illuminating from Greg Sankey's quotes today was someone asked about, have you guys basically threatened to break off from the rest of college football? And he said, there's been conversations, but we're not using it as leverage, which is pretty interesting because that quote from him.
It's leverage.
Yeah, that's leverage.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like I remember where I was when I heard his initial quote, I think 2 or 3 years ago now, where he basically was like, hey, we can't figure this out. If whatever we have to do to get a workable system, we're going to figure it out. So I think it's going to take a couple more years of testing, but ultimately the sides still feel pretty far away.
Greg saying he's frustrated. He's frustrated in that he feels like the SEC has fallen in line by doing things like having the 9-game conference schedule while still requiring a power conference team in non-conference play. And he feels like the SEC has been willing to sit down and listen, and it's been viewed as like this stubborn party. And in reality, it's just that a lot of these other power conferences have kind of gone rogue, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, if we don't do a 24-team playoff, all of a sudden we're leaving money on the table. And Sankey brings up, which I think is a perfectly relevant point, that there is not necessarily a proven media number that everybody talks about with the expanded playoff in terms of what that TV contract would look like.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the way that it's been approached by these other conferences is, oh, well, we have to do this. It's our path in the rev share era to be able to finance all these other sports and do these things. And maybe it is, but like, I don't necessarily know that the TV package is all of a sudden going to warrant the potential downside of that, which is something we've acknowledged for a really long time. And that is the regular season is still really freaking good.
Yeah.
And we should probably try and still monetize that in the best way possible. And so like that's the thing that I'll sit there and actually agree with Greg Sankey on.
Yeah, and I think too, it's balancing, the first 9-game conference schedule with, I mean, we've talked about it for the last couple of years. I feel like every college Saturday has been the best it's ever been, top to bottom. But then balancing that with the fact that the stakes have been lower than ever. Back in the day, you get 1, 2, 3 games that really mattered. Whereas like now, it feels like every game is back and forth, and every game gives teams more chances to lose games, essentially.
Yeah, and I think Sankey is really trying to get out ahead of this, because he knows that the conference that he has been at the forefront of doing all these great things this last decade that he's been in this role, he knows that it's about to have a little bit of cannibalism in a way that is not necessarily going to all of a sudden make people think, oh, well, this is just the SEC being the SEC. He realizes the streak. It's 3 consecutive years without being in the national championship. If that continues for a fourth, when, maybe the SEC is going to have the most teams in the college football playoff once again, something that he made sure to bring up. That was kind of the biggest flexing that he did. Then you got problems, man. Like, you're all of a sudden looking at a world in which you can no longer hang your hat on being, oh, well, we have the championship contenders. It still comes down to championships, man. You know what people don't remember? Who had the most teams in the playoff in 24?
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately participation, and that's not what we've ever been told to prioritize in the South, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've given Greg Sankey credit over the years for setting the tone and being the leader of all of college football, being kind of a de facto commissioner in the years where it seemed the most chaotic. But it does feel like he's starting to fall in line and be a little bit more reactionary.
And it's not even that he's not the alpha anymore. It's that, when you're not winning championships, this is something we talked about with David Hale. When you're not winning championships, you're not going to look like the alpha.
Yeah.
You're no longer the alpha in the room. That's just not going to be the case. But it's that I think he's frustrated that others have come in and have been so tied to their own agendas. And that's been the biggest thing that you've seen so far. And when you see, the Big Ten really hold strong and make this push for 24, when the SEC was like, wait a minute. If we had gotten to 9, if we had gotten to the 9-game conference schedule, we were going to be willing to expand and go to 16. Wasn't that kind of the, hey, you give us this, we'll give you that? And it hasn't played out like that. And so, it does put a lot of things in question. And I don't mean to be doom and gloom here at SEC Media Days, but we knew that Greg Sankey was going to have to address this. I will say this, Will, and we're going to have Brooks Austin coming on in just a few minutes here. JD Pickell is going to join us later in the hour, so stick around for that. I will say there needs to be a rule, and it is the Jay Cutler rule.
Okay.
At SEC Media Days.
Always keep your pants on.
Kind of. So there is this story that lives in Chicago sports lore, and I don't even know if it's 100% true. I choose to believe it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Someone one time, while Jay was the quarterback of the Bears, approached him in the bathroom and tapped him on the shoulder and was telling him like all these things, but like, oh man, like you and Brandon Marshall, you're like the best combination ever. And like, oh, I remember watching you at Vandy and thinking you were going to be so good, blah, blah, blah. And this person's like talking Jay's ear off, just talking. And Jay's sitting there at the urinal. And he looks up, exasperated, and he goes, "Don't care." It's the single most Jay Cutler story that's ever existed. If it's not true, I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, it is actually true. Every single time someone brings up the Protect College Sports Act, I just think of Jay Cutler at the urinal. And I'm like, don't care.
I mean, look, I'm on his side there. The urinal is one of the few moments of peace we have as men. You should never approach someone at the urinal.
Agreed.
So actually, in that case, I'm with him. But yeah, the shout out to random senators, shout out Ted Cruz, something we never thought we'd hear.
Sure.
But yeah, it feels like the deeper we get into it, the more like, people are talking about the minutiae as if we're all up to date. And it's like, number one, all of this is changing. And number two, we know there's an agenda behind it. So ultimately, it's almost like they're speaking to people who are not in the room, if that makes sense.
Yes. And I just want there to be the around the horn mute button.
Yep.
When a reporter asks this question, I need Tony Reale to step in. And I realize he's no longer in that role and the show doesn't exist anymore. But I need Tony Reale to come in and just boop, mute button. Mm-hmm. Anybody that asks about Protect College Sports, until there's actually some legislation that changes, the way that all of these decisions are going to be made behind the scenes, and the rev share pool is changed drastically, and this and that, until actual change happens. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about actual football.
Yep.
Let's talk about those 9-3 teams and whether or not they're going to have a resume to be able to get into the field. That's what I think is more interesting. Okay, more interesting. Ahmad Hardy, the guy who might be the best returning player in the SEC, the guy who, oh by the way, was unfortunately shot in May. It was addressed. Eli Drinkwitz knew it was going to be addressed. Here's the good news. He is cleared. He is medically cleared, and today was his first day back, okay? His first day back from this very sudden, stunning offseason injury that I think a lot of people were just like, whoa, that's like one of the best players in all of college football returning, and you can't assume anything. I took away from what Eli Drinkwitz had to say, talking about this timetable to return 5 to 8 weeks. He expects him to return, just as John Wayne did that one time. What was the quote again?
Basically, John Wayne rode horses after he got shot, so Ahmad Hardy's taking that same approach, which is just a Billy Badass quote by him. I mean, Drink really is kind of the most interesting coach left, other than Lane, maybe.
Lane's Drink's way better in this setting than Lane.
Yeah, Drink
Lane's
is underrated. Yeah.
Do we need to take this moment in time and say Ahmad Hardy, if he does return, which we know the soundtrack, Many Men's going to be playing.
Oh yeah,
has to be. Do we need to give him the John Wayne nickname if he is able to make a full return from this what could have been tragic offseason incident?
Absolutely. I mean, lad of the decade there, where you're one of our favorite players. And I remember telling you, like, I got that push notification and thought it was made up because very little was made of it at the time. With a situation like that, I think people are rightly scared to comment on it, and so it took time for all the facts of the story to come out. But yeah, just such a tragic development for a guy. But again, the story of redemption here, where it feels like. And Drink didn't guarantee anything about is he going to be 100%? Is he going to be a different player?
He doesn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like he knows.
Yeah.
And Jamal Roberts was here for Mizzou,
mm-hmm.
the backup running back. And we can call him a backup running back with the amount of work that Ahmad Hardy got.
But he's a dog, though. I mean, I remember that Kansas game. He was nasty.
Jamal Roberts, good player. Very, very good player. But it is interesting because, this is someone who I think if he were fully healthy, we'd be like, hey, what's the Heisman Trophy conversation?
Mm-hmm.
And there aren't a whole lot of SEC backs that return after a year in which they were as prolific as Ahmad Hardy was. But it is unfortunate. It's kind of just like throw your arms up and be like, I don't know. I don't even know if Ahmad Hardy in his heart of hearts knows what it's going to look like when he's out there on that football field. And you can go back to like the last couple of years. We've had Brian Robinson in the NFL. I know we just talked about Many Men. We've had Ricky Pearsall as well.
Yep.
Where it's been like kind of touch and go. And it's like the bullet hit a bone. There are things there that I am definitely not equipped to discuss in the way that it impacts a human being, especially one that takes on the position of running back in the Southeastern Conference, wherein those types of things, maybe they're felt a little bit more. But man, it's a huge storyline to think about. Maybe the best returning player in this conference is kind of just I don't know. We'll see what it looks like, man. No idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's 1,000 directions you can go with it, and Drink even was a little bit scared to address it. He was like, "I'm just going to say I'm anti-gang or not gun violence, and basically say, hey, that doesn't mean I'm anti-police, doesn't mean I want to take away your guns." And it's just such a touchy subject in America, which kind of shows where we are. But that being said, I mean, again, just so tragic, and not a guy that was really doing anything wrong. He was just having fun at a concert, and just a nightmare. And I mean, Music Midtown in Atlanta has been shut down because open carry has been tested. And basically, they said you can bring guns into Piedmont Park, and it's one of my favorite music festivals. And so it's just crazy that like we're just in a place where we just have guns and music festivals. I don't know.
Wild, absolutely wild. But yeah, Mizzou is one of these teams that is never really going to be discussed that much here at SEC Media Days. But when your best player is involved in something like that, needless to say, it's going to be discussed. And I was going to ask Drink too, and I didn't get my hand up quick enough to be able to ask him about Garrett Riley, who is going to be one of these guys that you see on an SEC sideline. You're like, wait a minute, he's quarterback's coach at Mizzou? That's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Drink talked about the offense having to change. It has to change for this specific team, and especially when we've seen the struggles against the elite competition. And it's not to say like Mizzou is like some fraudulent program or something like that everybody looks to fall on their face. But the reason that Mizzou is not talked about and why this is probably the most airtime that they're going to be getting all week is the 8 consecutive losses to ranked teams.
Yep.
That hangs, that looms. Drink did have an interesting comment. I was curious if you had some thoughts on this. He said that the last 3 national champs coming from the Big Ten have certainly benefited from not having a power conference team in non-conference play. Huh. What do we think about that, Will?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, like we always talk about, it goes for you if you win the game, it goes against you if you lose the game. And so ultimately, and I think we can even take that back to the 9-game conference schedule, because that's something that I think hurts the SEC in a way that it doesn't hurt the Big Ten, that you have to be there every single week. And so, yeah, I mean, does that get us farther away from scheduling these games if people start to read the tea leaves? I don't know.
If Indiana had last year not played Old Dominion, but by the way, it ended up being a pretty good team, 10-win team. Colton Joseph, 75-yard touchdown early on in that game. If they had just not played Old Dominion and instead played, I don't know, TCU, is that the difference between that team winning a national championship or not?
No.
Personally,
no.
Maybe a little bit biased. I don't think so. it does get a little bit interesting if you talk about like Ohio State being 10-2. If they had actually played someone in non-conference play that year, what does it look like if they had a big headliner? We saw it play out, with Texas and the way that it worked against them, the 9-3 versus 10-2 conversation. Okay, maybe that's a little bit different, but if we're sitting here pretending like having someone play, a group of 5 team versus a power conference team in non-conference play, like that's the difference in them winning a national championship. Missed me a little bit with that.
Yeah, and to your point, Ohio State's not even following that advice because they scheduled this big marquee matchup with Texas, which they go on to win. And you could argue that after winning a championship, that would be a team that would be easy to fall victim to their own success. And so I think it helped them tremendously last year.
Look, we'll see. We'll play the results on that.
Always,
it is a convenient thing to fall back on, but that's what frustrates me so much. And it's not just Drink that's saying this. This was Lane Kiffin when he went on Pardon My Take and talked about this as well. You can't continue to say that it's the strength of schedule that builds up your conference and then, oh, well, that's the reason that you're not winning national championships.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you just didn't have a team that was national championship caliber.
Yeah.
Like crazy bold take. I don't know if we could throw that out there, but maybe, just maybe, that one game that you played in September wasn't the difference in whether or not you were able to win those big time games in January.
Yeah, and I'll say it, we can wrap all this around and say how many actual championship contenders have been left out or cost a chance? Very, very few.
Well, Notre Dame would tell you.
Well, that's the thing.
Notre Dame
I would tell you convincingly that if you're scared to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, you are not a national champion.
First of all, nobody should be scared to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. It is what every bowl game should aspire to be.
Exactly.
And I have seen so many Notre Dame fans, and I think this was trending actually on Twitter earlier today, that talk about what their path to the playoff would have been like and blah, 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 blah. And you know where I stand on this. If you lose the 2 games on your schedule to the 2 best teams on your schedule, miss me with your playoff credentials and how you would have gone on a run. Could Notre Dame ever realistically gone on a run? Yes. Did they, with that schedule and the lack of quality wins that followed, did that actually work? Oh, we got Brooks Austin coming on. Brooks, okay, so for the record, I wasn't going to say that you were 3 minutes late. I wasn't going to say that.
Shit, my clock's slow.
Are we
live? Yes.
We're
I'm sorry, brother.
We got Brooks Austin joining us, knower of ball.
Mm-hmm. Sharpest dressed man at media days, many are saying.
Yeah, they do every year. It's the same suit, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Got a good tailor.
Wait a minute. So I used to be this way as well.
Mm-hmm.
I used to show up to SEC Media Days 4 suits.
Yeah.
The whole time. When I represented Saturday Down South and I was like sitting here as like, in I think 2021 or whatever it was. And I'm like, look, I got to look the part every single day. I wore suits every day. Are you wearing a suit every day this week?
3 days. The 4th day I will not.
Is it business casual 4th day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen the episode?
It's just to show the pipes. I've been working out a lot lately. So
sick brag.
Okay.
Sick brag.
Yeah.
Ozempic?
No. I do get allegations though. But something crazy happens when you stop drinking alcohol. Your body just deflates.
Okay.
And people, I get Ozempic allegations quite often nowadays.
That's a badge of honor, honestly.
Good, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Look, it happens to the best of us. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it's just because you're a former offensive lineman.
Yeah. Honestly, when I was fatter, people didn't call me a nerd as much. Now when people don't like, they just call me fat. Now, when they don't like my opinion about their favorite football team, they're like, what does this nerd know about ball?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
by the way, I am so lucky I was walking by anonymously, just randomly in circles, because I would have flat out missed this.
Okay. You were 115.
I was, and it's a me thing. It's a me problem, not a you problem. It's a me problem.
Okay. Yeah, we're locked in for 115.
But yeah,
you're here now. That's all.
What's up?
So, all right, we've talked about so far Sankey, the way that he's addressed this, knowing that there's an elephant in the room, 3 consecutive years missing out on the national championship. Maybe this is the last year of the 12-team playoff. He's very clearly frustrated at all the surrounding pieces.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he just doesn't seem to necessarily have this voice in the room that takes over.
Yeah.
And that includes the selection committee. And I mean, I think he's miffed that 9-3 teams aren't getting in. What was your takeaway from being able to watch him operate?
I honestly, and I got to be very, I know we're on live television, got to be very careful how loudly I say this. I thought it was hysterical that he sat up there and said, I'm really interested to gauge the opinion on the media and our fans about expansions of playoffs. Like, buddy, no, you are not. No, you are not, because you don't even have to ask. The answer is no. The answer is no. We don't want it to expand any further. Most people think 12's too many.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the idea that he set up there, he's like, I can't wait to gauge the opinions. Like,
let's take a poll.
Yeah, I did. I put it out on Twitter. I was like, hey, Greg Sankey says he wants your opinion. What do you think? Should we expand anymore? And it is unanimous. Or
unanimous?
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Football brain.
That's the word.
Welcome to Brooks Austin.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like unanimous. We do not want you to go any further.
Yeah.
And they probably will.
Mm-hmm.
They probably will, because every coach in this conference wants to go further. But more importantly, every president, every decision maker at those universities just wants a further entrenched foothold into that college football playoff, which I get it. Like, you get in there, you get the warm and fuzzies, maybe you get a home playoff game, and it's massive to your local economy. And that's great for everybody. But I don't know about you guys. You guys cover this for a living like I do. I felt my constituents, my fan base, I felt them getting almost tired of football by late January.
So
there was so much of a break period between playoff games that like our viewership dropped.
Yeah.
The retention rate dropped. Everything dropped. And those are supposed to be the biggest games of the year.
Yeah.
Now, I know they showed up and watched them because they're going to show up and watch them. But the buzz around it is what feeds. It's what feeds everybody. And the buzz dies after mid-December.
You're right. And that assessment is very fair when we're talking about something that had the highest viewership of any non-NFL sporting event since Game 7 of the 2016 World Series.
Mm-hmm.
A game in which I was also a fan of the way that it turned out. But that's the issue, is that you can justify it with a rating like that and say, well, see, people are still engaged in late January. Sankey talked about wanting to have this calendar wrapped up January 8th. All three of us are old enough to remember a time in which, well, you can't do it into second semester. You got to have it wrapped up by the first week of January.
Student athletes. I remember those days.
Student athlete.
Yeah, like kids are going to school these days.
Right.
I didn't come here to go to school. That's
we came to play school. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not playing school, but it is interesting. And I think that's a very fair point. And I think that there are so many different ways that you can spin that if you're looking for narratives. How many strongly worded letters would it take for Greg Sankey to say, this is the fan support I needed?
Yeah,
no expansion.
There's not a number. Like I said, that's why I thought it was so funny. It's like the idea that you even asked for their opinion tells me how disassociated you are from actual fans' opinions. Because everybody knows they don't want it. Everybody. We talk to them all the time. We see them in our comments. Like, we know the idea that he said that today was like so disconnected, in my opinion, from what actual fans think. And when he said media, like, buddy, you're talking TV media rights.
Yes.
That's who you're talking about. And I know their answer.
Yeah.
I know what they want. They want more and more and more because of Nielsen ratings. By the way, I find it really weird that we have really, really transparent viewership numbers
Oh, there's that word again.
in what
Transparent.
we do.
Look at that.
In what we do. And then the Nielsen ratings, I ain't seen a TV rating drop in 25 years. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It ain't like we got more people watching sports than ever before, but these ratings just every year.
The streaming.
I'm sure. I'm sure they're counting, multiple people 3 or 4 times. That's weird to me that their numbers keep going up, but my YouTube numbers are absolutely right there in front of everyone, and they can't be manipulated with. And there's full transparency. Well, some people can do it. No allegations. Some people can do it. But yeah, I find that really frustrating because it's right there for us. You can see it in your live viewership numbers and your concurrent viewership numbers and your total views. And then the Nielsen rating pops up and it's like, hey, it's the highest rated football game in the history of football. Like, okay, the next one will be the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I find them a little bit fugazi personally.
Yeah, I think it's the teams that their season kind of should be over and would be over in any other context.
Yeah.
They're kind of these like zombie teams that get to the end of the year. I remember we joked around all of 2024. We're like, oh, LSU, they could get into the playoff. I'm like, please, no, I don't want to watch this team anymore. This is not a playoff team. This is not all we're going to do is get embarrassed in this situation. And I think those are the moments where people will tune out when you get these blowouts in the blowouts in the early rounds. But then by the time we go back to the championship, we get these amazing stories, or we get these great athletes, and then people are bought back in,
Yeah.
The best example of this too, Brooks, I remember sitting with you and JD and Trey Wallace We're sitting there at the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
This is my alma mater that's playing in this game, and we're all sitting there at halftime. We're like, kind of like, man, season should have ended like 2 weeks ago, shouldn't
Yeah.
it? Like,
Yeah.
if us lovers of this sport are having that sort of feeling, I can't imagine what my buddy Bronson is thinking in the suburbs of Chicago when he tuned out after Iowa went 8-4 and he just stopped caring. Like, I don't know how that impacts the average fan. And you're right, that's where the disconnect is, and it's really, really obvious at this point.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk quarterbacks.
Ooh, we get to talk ball now. This is my
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, we are both flying the Trinidad flag.
Yeah, we are.
We have Trinidad as QB1.
Yeah.
Where you go after that, I think is all totally up for grabs.
Mm.
And I've seen a lot of difference in opinion. Yeah, maybe there are some people that would disagree at 1 with Trinidad at 1 because maybe they've got Arch there. I've kind of only seen those two guys at the top of SEC quarterback rankings. Where's the guy that you're like, hey, this is my bang the drum guy. This is the guy that I watch and I go, he is better than what people are giving him credit for right now. Let's make a big deal out of him now so that we don't have to do this in mid-October.
In the SEC alone?
Let's do it in the SEC alone.
So I liked what I saw from Kamario Taylor on tape.
That's the correct answer. Yeah.
That dude is nuts. Now, if he's not great, it's because everything else around him.
Right.
And he'll probably get $7 million next year in the portal if that's the case.
Darian meant the money.
Yeah, but they won't have to buy him out or give Duke a sweetener.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Even though I think it was reported that he did get sued for counterpay.
Mhm.
I think he gave them north of a 7-figure deal back.
Mark Cristobal told us that at ACC Media Days, you know,
Oh, he
Derek
got
Semesta
he got
entered the portal.
Yeah, he entered the portal.
They
and then-
watched film, and then
Yeah.
they decided this guy is a good fit in our program.
Yeah.
And then that's how it happened.
And I honestly, I really admired Manny Diaz's response to it. He was like, "Hey, you can only say what you can prove, and we can't prove anything." That's a complete antithesis of an argument of what another ACC coach did this year. But no, in this conference is Kamario Taylor. I'm a big Aaron Philo guy, but that's probably because I'm a big Buster Faulkner guy.
And you're also a big high school football in the state of Georgia guy.
Yeah,
That's really
and he
what it comes
does.
down to.
He does have basically every passing record in the state. He shattered them all. So yeah, he's just he plays the position the right way. You know what I mean? Like I love that Mateer can make a lot of plays, and he's really explosive, and he's a great football player. And I do have a tremendous amount of respect for great football players. I mean, I cover Gunnar Stockton really closely. I respect the hell out of guys that put their body on the line constantly and make plays. But he doesn't play the position the way that I prefer it. I'm a chicken and rice guy. I want you to go through the reads and do it the right way, and your feet to be tied with your eyes and to play it mechanically clean. And for that reason, like Arch had some mechanical stuff going on last year, and I felt vindicated listening to the fact that Sark finally admitted that he had off-season foot surgery. I don't know if anybody talked about that enough.
No.
Because the whole year last year we were like, he's hurt. That don't look right. That don't look like what it looked like. And I'm not just saying that because I thought this kid was going to be immediately great and protecting my own butt on my own takes, but that does not look right. And come to find out, he had messed his foot up against Texas A&M in 2024, thought it was going to be okay, and then went through all of 2025 with a bothersome foot. And having watched the tape, they didn't tell us which foot he had surgery on, but I'd be willing to bet a week's pay it was his back foot. I mean, he was so inconsistent with his mechanics, and the ball was spraying all over the place. I mean, the Ohio State game is awful.
It was rough.
I mean, it was really, really bad to watch. From what I'm talking about, like just, hey, can we be accurate with the football? Can we know where we're going?
0 to 9 yards. It's 0 to 9 yards,
Yeah.
and he couldn't throw to his left. Like he had to think that Arch Manning had similar numbers throwing to his left as Garrett Nussmeier last year.
Yeah,
it's the type of stuff that it's not nothing, especially when people are going to say, "Oh, he just got overrated because of his name." It's definitely part of it. But like we saw him do these things a year earlier. Well,
not to name drop, but and I'm not going to name drop him.
Please
but
do.
I can't. I was talking to an NFL offensive coordinator last offseason, and I was like,
what did Todd Monken say?
It wasn't him. I was talking to an NFL offensive coordinator, still an NFL offensive coordinator, so it wasn't Todd Monken. And I was like, hey, what do you think about Arch? And he was like, no touch. Can't lay the football. And I was like, what? And he goes, go watch his screen passes. Go watch his check downs.
It's bad.
Go
That's
watch
the crazy thing.
Go
yeah.
watch his 0 to 9. And that's something he's going to have to continue to develop. But man, watching him last year, and I put him up there with like right behind Trinidad in this conference. I believe in Arch Manning. But he was a pincushion last year, man. Like they could not protect him to save their life. And he is the life. Like, he is the lifeblood of that football program. He should be. And he was on his back way too often last year. And it came in spurts too, where like it's almost like the Red River game last year. Sark was like, finally, okay, we can't protect. And then the next week, they're back to doing the same old crap, and they get sacked 7 times a couple weeks later against Florida. And it's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So I think one of the biggest hires this offseason was Will Muschamp going over there to Texas. And most Texas fans are like, we had a good defense last year. That wasn't the problem. It was offensive line. It was offense. And the most damning piece of evidence was when Steve Sarkisian
head coach of the defense.
Yep. So I'm gonna let this guy be the head coach of the defense. And my sirens went off in my head. I was like, wait a minute. You're clearly telling me you felt like you had to go over there and oversee the defense last year at times, and you're the head coach, and you're the play caller on offense. Oh, no wonder you guys stunk at times. You know what I mean, on offense? Because like you can barely wear 2 hats in this job. Like I don't believe that great head coaches are great play callers still. I think they're great head coaches. That's what they should be. There's too much going on nowadays. Unless we alleviate things like what Brent's done at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're going to handle the roster, Jim Nagy. I'm going to call defense and handle culture and handle everything else, and then we'll bring in an offensive coordinator. That's manageable. That's doable. Whereas, like, I don't think Kirby Smart would ever be like, yeah, I'm gonna be the defensive coordinator too. You know? Like, he's CEO. That's what – I mean, I don't think there's been a play caller to win a national championship, has there?
Next round, Brooks – we had this
y'all
graphic.
Y'all put the graphic up, didn't you?
The graphic out about play callers as
and it wasn't AI slop.
It wasn't Spurrier 96. It's just every answer is Spurrier 96.
Yeah,
it's just like that's what I would default to.
Yeah, it's totally a different era of football.
It feels like the NFL has gone the other way too. It's like in the NFL they're trying to get guys who are play callers, and I hear this, and it's funny coming from college football because I was talking NFL with a couple of my guys, and like, you got to have a play caller, and I'm like, whoa, and then you look at the guys that are winning in the NFL, and it's flipped.
Yeah, but
management. Yeah,
they also have GMs. They have a regulated system. They know what their offseason plans are.
Yep.
They know what their windows are.
They know how many teams get in the playoff every year.
Exactly. They know they can pay their other coordinator $2.5 million, and he's one of the best 32.
Yep.
That is not the case down here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Down here, the head coach of a college football program also has to welcome the students in August. He has to go do all these meetings that you have no idea what you're about before you take those jobs, right? Like, you're the highest paid employee on the campus. They're going to stretch you thin. They're going to run you everywhere. And I learned this most when Nate Oates talked about it at Alabama. He's like, I thank God Nick Saban retired. Maybe they'll actually make the other football coach work. You know what I mean? He said something along those lines where he's like, maybe the other guy will actually have to go do some of these things.
Yeah.
Because Nick was like, no. So who do you think they called? They called me, being Nate Oates. He's like, I have to go do these things now. Because Nick was so powerful that he could say, I'm not doing that. I'm a football coach. Like, I got other things to do. 99.9% of guys in that role can't do that. They have to go shake hands and kiss the babies. And that takes away from time of coaching. Where in the NFL, coaches coach. That's what they do. They're not out here doing all the other stuff.
Brooks, last one for you. I'm going to ask you a question that we got asked on the next round earlier today, and it's one that relates to those dogs. It's something that I think a lot of people are wondering about, as Georgia has had these 2 consecutive playoff losses. But Georgia still has Team of the Decade up for grabs. You win a 3rd championship, that title is as good as yours. That's what history tells us. The over-under is 0.5 Georgia national championships for the rest of the 2020s. Are you taking the over on that?
Yeah, I probably would. I think it's a little fugazi to do the hasn't won a playoff game in X amount of years things, because he won the bye game. They won at a rate where they didn't get to play JMU at home.
Brooks is showing us the graphic.
Other Brooks off camera. So Tom Osborne and Jimbo Fisher, that counts, huh? Okay, so Jimbo did it in 2013 with 21 pros on the field. So you can do it that way.
Yeah.
Anybody got 21 pros nowadays in 2023? Maybe Texas. Maybe Texas.
Maybe.
What are people doubting Texas this year?
No, they're going to be the pick to win the conference.
They should be. Put the weight of the world on that guy. Make him win. if he doesn't have like 15 starters hurt by the end of the year, that dude ought to win a national title.
But wait a minute. What if I told you that it was really difficult for transfers to get in at Texas? Because
Oh,
they
yeah,
don't take
basket weaving.
liquids?
Yeah, basket weaving.
Well, I'm just saying.
By the way, basket weaving seems really difficult.
Honestly, I don't think I could do that.
I don't have the patience or the dexterity in my fingers to be doing that.
I don't. No way. I think throwing basket weaving under the. He needs to be asked about basket weaving this week. If he has not done it, I would also love to know what those
Coach,
conversations.
thought it was a little disrespectful to the basket weavers. Before I go,
did a story.
Before I go, can I say something?
Please fire away.
I've been coming to SEC Media Days for 5 years now, and I've never been on the next round. And you know why I'm on now? Because Ryan Brown ain't in charge of it. That's why.
You know, Ryan.
How about that?
Ryan did send me a message earlier today and was like, "Are you guys aren't having Brooks on, are you?" And I was like, "We actually are." It's funny that you mentioned that.
Scoundrel.
Like, good. That means that we don't have to worry about this. No, I'm just kidding. Look,
I'm not.
You're one of the favorites. You are one of the favorites. As long as we are here in person, as long as anybody is here for the next round, Brooks Austin, you will be a yearly staple. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you,
man.
boys.
Thank you.
Y'all be good.
Absolutely, man.
Oh, congrats on 100K, by the way. You
Hey,
too.
not yet. Not
Also
yet.
good.
Not yet.
We're not at
Not
100K?
yet. We're
Okay.
at 98.1. And if you're listening right now, you don't subscribe, please do. I
Please do.
appreciate it. I might slide you a $5 for that. Appreciate
Ball nowhere.
Yes, sir.
Love Brooks, as always. You know, it's interesting. I think you hear him bring up a really good point about let's talk about the play caller thing, because it's something that I feel like has become such a crossroads in this day and age. Can you actually be your play caller and still run your program? We saw two coaches that have taken really different approaches to that so far, and Eli Drinkwitz and Brent Venables. I do think that you're right in that you can't just be like, oh, well, this guy does it in the NFL, therefore it should work in college. I think you have to truly adjust it and treat it like a year by year thing. And I'm always like, I feel like it should be an annual topic of conversation. I realize that folks that have lived this on the plains, wherein Auburn has had like a different offensive coordinator. I was trying to think about this too, Will. Maybe I'm putting you on the spot. Like, when was the last time that Auburn had the same offensive play caller in consecutive years?
Man, that's a great. I mean, did Bo Nix ever?
No.
Repeat? Yeah. So
Different
like,
ones.
I mean, it would have to be. It would certainly have to be the Gus years then.
But the problem is that when was it Rhett Lashley? I don't think
Mhm.
it was ever Rhett Lashley officially.
Yep.
And like at certain points it was Gus, and then Gus brings Kenny Dillingham in, but Kenny Dillingham's not his primary play caller, and then go figure, Bo Nix gets Kenny Dillingham as his primary play caller when he gets to Oregon. Like, it is such a wild thing to think about for those who have had just stability. And I wonder sometimes with these head coaches if they just opt for that and they just go, you know what? I know how I'm going to act in this situation. And it doesn't always mean that it's best, but you can see what the alternative looks like sometimes at a place like Auburn. And I think Texas has basically said, look, Steve Sarkisian has the ability to continue to call plays. He can do that as long as we are in contention, as long as we are that team. If Texas does not make the college football playoff this year, Steve Sarkisian ain't calling plays anymore. I'm going to come out. I'll say it right now.
Wait for the graphic that comes out that says he's looking at the Titans job or something.
Dude,
He's going to end up. Yeah.
But like, the more I think about it, and Brooks has talked about this as well, like, Texas is under more pressure this year among any of those contenders. It's because this is everything you've wanted when Arch Manning committed to your program so early on. And I do think that if he's in that spot at season's end where he's like on the outside looking in, and it's really similar conversations to last year of like, hey, just get us in the field and see what we can do, it will be an indictment on him as a play caller, because maybe the offense is better, but if the offense isn't good enough to carry you to that place, that's a tough pill to swallow. And so I will definitely at some point, if we're sitting there in early November, like wondering if Texas is going to be playoff worthy, you have my word. I'm coming out with a list of play callers for Sark.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do.
Yeah, but see, that's kind of the point. Like, I say that tongue in cheek, but it's honestly, it's honest, because Sark might be the kind of guy who would just take his ball and go home in that situation. When
True.
they say, hey, if you're going to keep this job, and he's going to say, oh, I won't keep this job, then have a great day. Someone else will hire me and let me call plays.
I think his ego's too big to do that. If I'm being 100% honest, we got JD Pickell coming on. He's going to join us. Yeah, we're fluid here. We're fluid. We're live all hour. We're live on air right now. You're good to go. Fellow knower of ball, JD Pickell.
Oh yeah.
JD, I don't think we've done an in-person interview, you and I. Before.
This is awesome.
This is great, man.
Good to
This
see
is
you.
great.
Flowing, dude. Seeing Will Ogburn in the flesh, dude.
Man. You know
It's
how it
like,
goes.
I saw you walk in through the hallway. Like I'm at my spot down there at the On3, table, and I see you walk through. I'm like, it's my podcast feed come to life. Like,
course,
let's
man.
go, man.
Of course,
Mouth
man.
the
Social
signal.
feed, podcast feed. You know what it is.
I love
man.
it,
Good to see
man.
you too.
Can I tell the audience the one thing that JD has offered me today?
Please.
It was in a bottle.
Yeah.
It was a certain caffeine pill.
Sure.
JD's the biggest caffeine pill advocate you will ever see.
Well, he's downgraded from smelling salts, I think. I'm sure back in the day you used to get a little bit rougher with that.
Man, I wish I was that hardcore, man. I don't even know if we had smelling salts like in our training room like that. But yeah,
Okay.
the caffeine pills. So 5 Hour Energy was my thing for a long time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of made me jittery. No jitters with the caffeine pills.
Okay.
Contrary to what
Jesse
mainstream
Spano.
television would tell you.
Yep.
So, and I mean, it's Monday. So like maybe by Wednesday, you're looking for something different. You change up the caffeine source.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to convert both of y'all, I think, before the end of the week.
Look,
we're going to make it happen.
I'm open to alternative solutions. We're always looking for alternative solutions here. We got to make it happen. We've had a very uneventful start to the day at SEC Media Days. We have seen Greg Sankey come out there. We've seen Eli Drinkwitz do his typical thing. We have seen Brent Venables may or may not have been reminded by some jerk that he's the oldest coach in this conference now.
Wow.
I threw a bow right at him.
Yeah. Hey.
I just want to see how he would handle it.
Was it true? Was it or was it not true? It's like,
true.
Brent, hey, Father Time is here. What do you want to say?
I paid him a compliment. I did say, look, you've been doing the hikes. You run stadiums. It's weird for you to think that you're the oldest coach in this conference. What's your takeaway so far from seeing the way that John Mateer came across? Because I feel like we talk a lot of John Mateer in the offseason. He's kind of the perfect guy to talk about because he was a Jekyll and Hyde quarterback. What was your takeaway from seeing him in person? And are you a fan of AI photos that enhance certain parts of his body?
Definitely a fan of the AI photos. Always. Gave him a little. So he came by our spot. We gave him a dap, and I was like, hey, maybe there's some AI there, but you feel pretty solid here. Just, I mean, to call a spade a spade. So there's that part of it. He also told us same shirt as Media Days a year ago. Top button doesn't button anymore.
Okay.
He said, so there's some big J journalism going on.
That's great.
That's not AI. I just feel like he seems like he's more used to all of this.
Yeah.
Coming out of high school, he was like an FCS caliber player that got Washington State late, and then he waits his turn at Wazoo, and then he balls out at Wazoo, and then he shows up in Atlanta, and like outside of Arch Manning and DJ Lagway, kind of felt like he was part of the show a year ago.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the faces of Media Days. Everyone was excited to talk to him. He was a story, whatever. Now you kind of get the sense that he's a little bit more poised, more comfortable in his own skin. He's like, I'm an SEC quarterback now. Been there, done that. Really hard last year to do that with 9 fingers and no run game. But here he just seems more well adjusted, which I think is huge.
It's a good point. I thought last year, Will, I don't know if you felt this too, like seeing John Mateer, he kind of had a little bit of this look in his eye like, oh, snap, like this is a big deal.
This isn't Pullman.
Yeah.
This isn't Pullman, Washington anymore.
Dude, like he kind of came in last year and I don't want to say it was deer in the headlights, but there was a different sort of approach. And yeah, you see him. He was literally the first person I saw here at SEC Media Days. Hopped in the elevator. He hops in with me. And that was the first thing I said to him was, any AI photos of you lately or anything like that? And of course, gets, like rolls his eyes. But I said, that's the thing. You actually don't need them. You're fine.
Yeah.
I don't care how much John Mateer benches, squats, whatever. I care more about his feet.
Yeah.
What do you think we'll see more of this year? The John Mateer that was the Heisman Trophy favorite before Dr. Shin became part of college football lexicon, or the guy that we saw after, the guy that we saw starting in that Texas game? It was just a liability, and play to play, you didn't know what you were going to get.
I think he's more what we saw in September, but I think he's even more refined from a mental game perspective. Like George Stoy does a great job for us at Sooner Scoop. There's a great couple of pieces out there about his offseason. And one of the things that he broke down, I believe it was part 2 of his series, talks about how he's watching more tape with Venables. And Venables is giving him the, hey, here's what defenses are trying to do to you kind of angle. Struck up a relationship with Sam Bradford and watching tape with him and getting kind of that whole side down. So I think it's the comfort in the SEC. I think it's having 10 fingers, which is great. But I think even more than that, it's like, okay, hey, I'm seeing the game differently now. Like I am more well adjusted to the pace of the SEC and what that brings. Because last year, it was just such a rocket ship start and it just was all happening so fast. I don't know that he ever got a chance to fully get his feet underneath him, both literally and I guess metaphorically speaking. So the mental side for him, I think, is going to be huge. People talk a lot about the motion and the way that's going to help him. It's like, I think he had like less than one pass a game batted down last year at the line of scrimmage. So it wasn't like the release point was everything, but just having a more settled approach to the game itself. I'm really excited to see what that does for him because he's ridiculously talented. We all see that.
You know what's interesting too, and they kind of talked about this at his availability. It's year 4 with Arbuckle because they said he was with him for 2 years at Washington State, and last year was the outlier, right? Because he was underrated, highly rated. I won't say overrated, but highly rated. And he comes into this year kind of underrated. I think it's a better spot for him. You know, I think that you're right. He was a little bit deer in the headlights trying to be this unknown mystery box going into last year. And I think now we know what his limitations are, but that gives him more kind of fuel to the fire in a sense.
I will say this too. His quarterback coach from Washington State, John Kuzieski, also came with him to Norman. John Kuzieski, some way, somehow, was at Cornell when I was there as my running back coach.
Dang.
And, like, I don't know how we ever got him in Ithaca, but he was there for a couple of years. I will just say he is one of the best, like, sports psychologist coaches I've ever had. Like, has a certain way of making you feel confident in yourself while also understanding the size of the moment. Like, in terms of having someone in your ear, that dude is a one of one. So having him plus Arbuckle, time in the system, familiarity, like I think he's really poised to have a huge year.
Jump throws in the SEC, when we throw out that term, we think Tebow. If we're throwing out that term for John Mateer this year, I'm going to be pretty annoyed.
Yeah.
Because he did it too much last year, whether that's compensating for the injury, whatever. His feet are special. They are absolutely an asset, more so in the run game probably than anything else. If we're still in November and John Mateer can't stop with the happy feet in those throws, it's a problem. And with a schedule.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, the